Chapter 4903. The surrounding cultivators also dispersed, but many of them were still discussing what had just happened. At this moment, a beautiful female cultivator with a seductive figure walked over. It was unknown if it was intentional, but when she walked to Lin Feng's side, she accidentally sprained her ankle and fell towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng, on the other hand, leaned to the side. The female cultivator instantly fell to the ground. He did not even look at the female cultivator as he walked around her, and continued to walk forward. The female cultivator looked at Lin Feng with an aggrieved gaze. Pfft! Shui Yuexin could not help but laugh. One had to admit that this woman was beautiful to begin with, but when she laughed, she looked even better. She was simply too mesmerizing. Lin Feng could feel his heart beating slightly faster. To Lin Feng, beautiful women were not enough to attract him. Sometimes, he needed a feeling, or a factor that could make his heart beat faster. "What are you laughing at?" Lin Feng looked at Shui Yuexin and asked. "She clearly wanted to throw herself into your arms. You should have taken the initiative to support her just now. Then, the two of you could have started a relationship," Shui Yuexin said. Perhaps it was because she was from the demon clan, but she was more daring in her words. Lin Feng said, "Fairy, do you really think that I'm the kind of person who can't lift my legs when I see a beautiful woman?" Shui Yuexin said. "Of course not. You're a gentleman and a good person. You know how to be considerate and care for others. Thank you for your help just now. When we return, I'll return the 2 sets of immortal equipment to you," Lin Feng said. "Those 2 sets of immortal equipment are for you." "Ah? For me? Didn't you ask me to keep them temporarily?" Shui Yuexin's charming face was filled with disbelief. Lin Feng said, "You're overthinking it. I said I'll give them to you, so I'll give them to you." After hearing Lin Feng's words, Shui Yuexin's heart could not help but be in a complete mess. Immortal equipment worth 140 million immortal stones. That was a sky-high price. He didn't know if he would be able to earn that many immortal stones in his lifetime. Lin Feng had casually given it to him. Why did he give such a valuable gift to her? Could it be? Did she fall for him? Thinking of this, Shui Yuexin felt her heartbeat quicken. What kind of woman couldn't he get? Would she like him? However, Shui Yuexin started to doubt herself again. She was not confident enough. "I'm not bad looking, right? And her figure is not bad, right? Young master taking a liking to me isn't something unbelievable, right?" Soon, another voice sounded in Shui Yuexin's heart. At that very moment, Shui Yuexin was having a battle in her heart. One moment, it was self-affirmation, and the next moment, it was self-denial. Lin Feng didn't know what Lin Feng was thinking about, but he didn't think too much about it. As for the previous matter, he didn't put it in his heart. What's done is done. Lin Feng naturally didn't care about 2 insignificant characters. There were many treasures here, but Lin Feng wasn't interested in many of them. After taking a stroll outside, Gong Sunqing came to Lin Feng's side and said respectfully, "Young master, my master would like to invite you for a cup of spirit tea. Do you have time?" Lin Feng had nothing to do, so he agreed. He and Shui Yuexin followed Gong Sunqing to the 4th floor. When they reached the 4th floor, Gong Sunqing led Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin to a VIP lounge. When he arrived, he found that there was only a young woman in a pink dress here. This young woman's figure was plump and charming, but her face looked very pure. Judging from her dressing, could it be that a woman of her age still had the heart of a young girl? There was a saying that one could tell a person's character from the way they dressed. Lin Feng felt that this saying was very suitable for the woman in front of him. She wasn't a teenage girl, but she dressed even more girly than a teenage girl. Either she had the heart of a young girl, or she liked to pretend to be pure. Lin Feng leaned towards the latter. Of course, he wouldn't say that out loud. "I'm Lu Shaoqing. Greetings, young master." The young woman came to Lin Feng's side and bowed to Lin Feng. Her voice was sweet and seductive. "There's no need to be so courteous," Lin Feng said. The young woman stood up and invited Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin to take a seat. She then asked, How should I address you, young master? Lin Feng said. My name is Ji. The young woman thought that Lin Feng's surname was Ji, so she smiled and said, So it's young master Ji? Sister Yuexin is so lucky to have found a man like you. She will be blessed in the future. Clearly, this woman called Lu Xiaoqing knew Shui Yuexin. It wasn't surprising. They were both from Little Western Paradise, so it was normal for them to know each other. After hearing Lu Xiaoqing's words, Shui Yuexin wanted to explain her relationship with Lin Feng. However, when she saw Lin Feng's gesture, she understood and didn't say anything. Although she didn't know why Lin Feng didn't let her explain, Shui Yuexin was very happy. At least in the eyes of others, she and Lin Feng were lovers, and Lin Feng didn't refute this in front of others. Young master, are you here to participate in the trade fair organized by evil monk Yuanji? Lu Xiaoqing asked curiously. Lin Feng nodded and said, That's my intention. I think it's about time. After we finish this cup of tea, we'll wait for a while. When the time comes, I'll bring young master along, Lu Xiaoqing said with a smile. Shui Yuexin was a little unhappy because Lu Xiaoqing's reputation wasn't very good. Moreover, she could bring Lin Feng along. When Lu Xiaoqing said that she wanted to bring Lin Feng along, Shui Yuexin naturally knew what Lu Xiaoqing's intentions were. If Shui Yuexin was really Lin Feng's woman, she could have objected and told Lu Xiaoqing that Lin Feng was her man, so Lu Xiaoqing shouldn't have any ideas. However, Shui Yuexin knew that there was nothing between her and Lin Feng. Moreover, they hadn't known each other for a long time, so they could only be considered friends. Therefore, she couldn't reject Lu Xiaoqing on behalf of Lin Feng. Then I'll have to trouble you. Lin Feng didn't think too much about it, and said casually, He, it's my honor to serve young master. Chapter 4904. Lin Feng was a knowledgeable person, so he had great self-control. There were many things he didn't say, not because he didn't know but because he didn't want to. Sometimes, turning a blind eye to things could make everyone happy. Only someone with too much time on their hands would cause trouble for no reason. Thus, Lin Feng was speechless when he saw those who liked to bully others. It was a good thing that they didn't cause trouble for him, or he would have beaten them to a pulp. After finishing the tea, someone came to inform Lu Xiaoqing that evil monk Yuanji's business was done. Everyone could go to Yuanji evil monk now. Lu Xiaoqing got up and smiled. Young noble Ji, Sister Yuexin, let's go now. Lin Feng nodded. Lu Xiaoqing led the way to the trading area. Lin Feng was a bit hesitant. The monk's name was quite strange. Why did he have to use Yuanji? In Buddhism, the word Yuanji meant death. These two words were quite taboo, but it was clear that evil monk Yuanji didn't mind these things. Perhaps he wasn't a real monk in essence. When Lin Feng arrived at the trading hall, there were already many cultivators there. The cultivator sitting on the main seat was a burly man. How should it be described? The burly man had a fierce face, but he was bald. He did not have the benevolent appearance of a Buddhist monk. Instead, he looked more like a fierce and ruthless person. This must be evil monk Yuanji. There was a woman kneeling on his left and right. Both of them were in the monk's embrace. Two more women were massaging the monk. When Lin Feng's group arrived, many people stared at Lin Feng in surprise. This was because Lin Feng was flanked by two peerless beauties. Both Lu Xiaoqing and Shui Yuexin were exceedingly beautiful. It made people's hearts palpitate. But now that she had accompanied Lin Feng here, everyone was very curious. Many people were guessing the identity of Lin Feng. Naturally, there were also some who had witnessed how Lin Feng had bought 2 sets of immortal artifacts to humiliate Li Xiaolu and Sikong Mobai. However, they still did not recognize Lin Feng. Evil monk Yuanji's eyes lit up when he saw Lu Xiaoqing and Shui Yuexin. Buddhist precepts. Lust. However, evil monk Yuanji clearly did not have such taboos. After seeing Lu Xiaoqing and Shui Yuexin, he immediately felt that the 4 women beside him were all ordinary. Scram! Let the 2 fairies sit here! Yuanji evil monk pushed away the 2 women beside him. He had bought them with money. They were equivalent to his slaves at his mercy. Even if he gave the two women away or killed them, no one would say anything. The two women trembled in fear and quickly retreated to the back. The two women who were massaging Evil Monk Yuanji were also frightened. Evil Monk Yuanji was temperamental. Naturally, they were very worried about their fate. Lu Shaoqing said, "We won't go to the master's side. We can sit here." Lin Feng found a place to sit down. Lu Shaoqing and Shui Yuexin sat on Lin Feng's left and right respectively. Many people could not help but feel excited when they saw this scene. Of course, everyone knew Lu Shaoqing and Shui Yuexin. The two of them were famous beauties in the little western paradise city. They were the goddesses in many people's hearts. Now, the two of them were accompanying Lin Feng. It was really enviable. Evil Monk Yuanji glanced at Lin Feng with his gloomy eyes before retracting his gaze. After waiting for another hour, many people came one after another. Lu Shaoqing said, "It's about time. The trade fair can begin." Evil Monk Yuanji took out all kinds of things. There were bottles of Buddhist resin, kasaya, wooden fish, Buddhist beads, Buddha statues, demon-subduing puppet, saraira, Bodhi beads, and other treasures. After seeing those treasures, many people's eyes widened. In fact, the power of these Buddhist treasures might not be as powerful as some of the treasures in the hands of cultivators. But the key was that these Buddhist treasures could restrain the evil ghosts. In the world of cultivators, evil ghosts were very common. Ordinary magic treasures could not restrain those evil ghosts. Therefore, when cultivators encountered evil ghosts, they would die without a burial place if they were not careful. But if they had the Buddhist treasures, the situation would be completely different. At that time, when they activated the Buddhist treasures, they could restrain the attacks of those evil ghosts. In fact, it could even kill those evil ghosts. Therefore, Buddhist treasures were extremely precious to any cultivator. However, it was more difficult for cultivators in the outside world to obtain Buddhist treasures. This was because Buddhist treasures were rarely circulated, especially those top treasures, which were even more difficult to circulate. Now, these Buddhist treasures would naturally cause a lot of people to fight over them. Buddhist treasure Kasaya, 500,000 immortal stones. Buddhist treasure, wooden fish, 300,000 immortal stones. Demon subduing puppet, 800,000 immortal stones. Buddhist treasure, Buddha statue, 1,500,000 immortal stones. Ordinary Buddhist resin, 1 million immortal stones. Medium Buddhist resin, 2 million immortal stones. High Buddhist resin, 5 million immortal stones. Buddhist saraira, ordinary saraira, 2 million immortal stones, medium saraira, 4 million immortal stones, and high saraira, 8 million immortal stones. Evil Monk Yuanji introduced the prices of various Buddhist treasures to everyone. Someone frowned and said, "Your prices are too expensive. Many things are several times more expensive than the black market. That's too outrageous." Evil Monk Yuanji said faintly, "Ridiculous my ass. How can my treasures be compared to those in the black market? They're completely different in terms of quality. Moreover, Buddhist treasures rarely appear in the black market. Even if they do appear, you won't be able to buy them because they'll be snatched away by the major factions with connections. But you can buy the treasures you like from me. So what if they're a little more expensive? Life is the most precious thing. I'm sure you all understand this principle. I'll take those 9 bottles of Buddhist resin." Lin Feng took out 24 million immortal stones and handed them to Evil Monk Yuanji, then took the 9 bottles of Buddhist resin. Of the 9 bottles of Buddha resin, 3 were ordinary Buddha resin, 3 were medium Buddha resin, and 3 were high Buddha resin. Buddhist resin could be used to dispel evil ghosts or during cultivation. These 9 bottles could be used for a period of time. Chapter 4905. Brat! You're going to take all of it by yourself? I'm afraid you won't be able to handle it. Someone frowned. Clearly, he wanted to buy the resin as well. Lin Feng nonchalantly said, "I've already bought it. Do you have a problem with that?" Seeing that Lin Feng wasn't someone to be trifled with, The other party didn't dare to say anything else. The evil monk said, "There are only so many things. First come, first serve. If you can't get it, you can only blame yourself for being too slow. No wonder others acted so quickly, and no wonder those who acted so quickly swept everything clean." Many cultivators no longer hesitated after hearing this and began to buy the treasures they wanted. Soon, the items brought by evil monk Yung were sold out by all the cultivators. Someone asked, "I heard that evil monk Yung brought a sacred ancestor Buddha stone. I wonder if it's true?" The evil monk said, "Of course it's true." As soon as he finished speaking, Yung waved his hand and a blood-stained rock flew out. That blood-stained stone was very special. Surrounded by Buddhist light, anyone could feel a very special charm of the great Tao from the stone. This was because the Tao aura was too powerful. It was clearly the sacred ancestor Buddha stone. Many people's eyes lit up after seeing the sacred ancestor Buddha stone. This stone was stained with the blood of a Buddha, so it was equivalent to a supreme treasure of the Buddhist faith. Moreover, it contained the grand Tao of the Buddhist faith. If one could comprehend it, the benefits would be endless. However, no one knew what kind of Tao it contained. "How much is the stone?" someone impatiently asked, wanting to get his hands on this supreme treasure. Yung evil monk said, "The sacred ancestor Buddha stone will be auctioned off. The highest bidder wins." "What's the starting price?" someone asked. "Hee, 10 million immortal stones." The evil monk laughed. Many people couldn't help but frown. The starting price was 10 million immortal stones. This price was truly too high. No one knew how many immortal stones it would cost, but even with such a high price, there were still many people who wanted to fight for it. That was because the other party also knew how precious the sacred ancestor Buddha stone was. If they could obtain the sacred ancestor Buddha stone, they would definitely be able to obtain it. If they could get their hands on it, they would gain endless benefits. 100 million! Just when everyone was complacent and wanted to participate in the bidding, a voice suddenly sounded. After hearing this voice, many people's faces turned green. The one who bid 100 million was none other than Lin Feng. Others naturally became depressed after seeing Lin Feng's outrageous bid. Lin Feng looked as if he was determined to get it. Moreover, the news of Lin Feng spending 140 million immortal stones to win the smile of a beauty spread in the hall. Because of this, it was too difficult to compete with Lin Feng. Therefore, many cultivators who originally wanted to bid didn't compete with Lin Feng. "This is a good item. Everyone, hurry up and bid!" Yung heretic monk became anxious. He estimated that the final price of the sacred ancestor Buddhist stone would be around 200 million to 300 million. If no one joined the bidding, it wouldn't reach his ideal price. However, no one was willing to bid against Lin Feng. Even after hearing evil monk Yunji's instigation, the surrounding cultivators remained silent. He did not participate in the bidding. After waiting for a while, Lu Shaoqing said, "Master, since no one else is bidding, can we conclude the deal with young Master Ji now?" Evil monk Yunji's face darkened. Although he was unwilling, there was no other way. After all, he still had to do business here in the future. It would be bad if his reputation was ruined. Evil monk Yunji said with a fake smile, "Of course we have a deal. If this benefactor takes out 100 million immortal stones, this saintly ancestor Buddha stone will be yours." Lin Feng nodded and handed 100 million immortal stones to the monk. He then kept the sacred ancestor Buddha stone. It wasn't a good time to study it now. It wouldn't be too late to do so after returning to his residence. "Everyone, the trade fair is over. You may leave now," Lu Shaoqing said. Everyone stood up and prepared to leave. At this time, evil monk Yunji looked at Lu Shaoqing and Shui Yuexin and said with a smile, "Fairy Lu, Fairy Shui, do you want to go sightseeing with this poor monk? I still have some good things that I haven't taken out yet. I can give them to the two fairies when the time comes." Many people cursed evil monk Yunji in their hearts. It was really a misfortune for Buddhism to have such a person. Everyone knew why he invited Lu Shaoqing and Shui Yuexin to sightsee. Lu Shaoqing said. I'm really sorry. We have already made an appointment with young Master Ji tonight to discuss poetry and songs. Therefore, we can't agree to Master's request. Poetry and songs? Discuss poetry and songs? Who are you trying to fool? Many people muttered in their hearts. They looked at Lin Feng with envy and jealousy. Clearly, everyone thought that Lin Feng wanted to enjoy the blessings of having multiple partners. However, there was no point in being envious. After all, Lin Feng was young, talented, handsome, and rich. If they were women, they would also like a man like Lin Feng. Lin Feng couldn't help but rub his nose, feeling a bit depressed. Lu Shaoqing was using him as a shield. However, Lin Feng didn't care about this. It didn't matter anyway. Moreover, Lu Shaoqing's words could help Shui Yuexin get rid of evil monk Yuanji. Have you made an appointment with this brat? That's easy. Evil monk Yuanji pointed at Lin Feng. He then walked towards Lin Feng and said, Brat! Tonight I want to go sightseeing with the two fairies. You don't have any objections, right? Sightseeing? Sorry, I have already made an appointment with the two fairies. Lin Feng said indifferently. Are you not going to give me face? Evil monk Yuanji's eyes flashed with coldness. Young master, try not to offend him. Shui Yuexin whispered to Lin Feng. She was worried that Lin Feng would be in big trouble after offending evil monk Yuanji. After all, evil monk Yuanji was very powerful. Moreover, these monks had strange means. Offending them was not a wise move. Lin Feng smiled and said, Don't worry. He then looked at evil monk Yuanji and said, Who do you think you are? You think you're worthy of me giving you face? The moment Lin Feng said that, the surroundings became silent. Chapter 4906. In everyone's opinion, Lin Feng was indeed extremely wealthy. However, they speculated that Lin Feng had so many immortal stones because Lin Feng might have obtained some great fortuitous encounter. Secondly, Lin Feng might have come from a top faction. That was why he had so many immortal stones. However, having immortal stones didn't mean one was strong. The evil monks and demonic monks of the Western Heaven region had always been fearless. After killing someone, they would run back to the Western Heaven region. Even the Heavenly Court didn't dare to attack them in the Western Heaven region. Therefore, even if Lin Feng had a powerful faction backing him, he wasn't much of a threat to the evil monks of the Western Heaven region. Everyone knew that. The evil monks and demonic monks of the Western Heaven region couldn't be offended. It wouldn't end well for anyone who offended them. In everyone's opinion, Lin Feng must be aware of this. However, even though Lin Feng knew that, he was still acting arrogantly in front of evil monk Yuanji. He didn't care about evil monk Yuanji at all. Therefore, everybody was astonished. Lin Feng was a young cultivator. How could he act so arrogantly in front of evil monk Yuanji? Did he think that the evil monk wouldn't dare to touch him because he had a powerful faction backing him? If that was the case, then he couldn't be more wrong. Good boy. You're arrogant enough. But you chose the wrong person. I'll make you kneel on the ground and kowtow to me later. The evil monk's face darkened when he heard Lin Feng's words. He then looked at Lin Feng with a chilling gaze. As soon as he finished speaking, the evil monk leaped out and slapped at Lin Feng. Watch out, young master! Shui Yuexin couldn't help but exclaim. She was worried that Lin Feng would be at a disadvantage. Lu Shaoqing squinted at Lin Feng. She wasn't as naive as Shui Yuexin. He had always been suspicious of Lin Feng's identity and cultivation. Now was the perfect time to observe Lin Feng's strength. Evil monk Yuanji's hand was about to reach Lin Feng, but at that moment, Lin Feng dodged to the left. Lin Feng dodged evil monk Yuanji's punch easily and threw a kick at him. A muffled sound of collision was heard. Lin Feng's kick landed on the evil monk's abdomen. The evil monk screamed and was sent flying, knocking over many tables and chairs. He lay sprawled on the ground while spitting out blood. Clearly, the injury from Lin Feng's kick wasn't light. After seeing this scene, everyone was completely dumbfounded. Evil monk Yuanji was a celestial cultivator, and Lin Feng had just kicked him away. Wasn't this a little too unbelievable? Shui Yuexin's mouth was slightly agape. Her eyes were filled with shock. She didn't expect Lin Feng to be so strong. Gasps could be heard coming from the trading hall. You're courting death. Consider that kick a lesson for you. Don't offend me again. I'll send you to the Western Pure Land to meet Buddha. Lin Feng sneered. Evil monk Yuanji stood up and looked at Lin Feng in fear. He knew he had bitten off more than he could chew. Therefore, the evil monk didn't dare to say anything else. Lin Feng then walked out of the trading hall. The cultivators in the area also dispersed. However, many of them were still talking about what had just happened. Lu Shaoqing looked at Lin Feng and said, Young master, don't leave tonight. Why don't you stay here and recite some poems? Won't that be fun? Lu Shaoqing had used this as an excuse to reject the evil monk. But now, Lu Shaoqing officially invited Lin Feng. Shui Yuexin cursed Lu Shaoqing for being a vixen. She only knew how to seduce Lin Feng. In fact, she had forgotten that she was a vixen. Lin Feng said, It's getting late. I can't stay for too long. Let's meet again in the future if we have time. Lin Feng then walked out of the trading hall. When Shui Yuexin saw that Lin Feng had rejected Lu Shaoqing, she was happy. She quickly caught up with Lin Feng. She walked faster than before. Interesting. This man really makes me feel a little excited. Lu Shaoqing narrowed her eyes and looked at Lin Feng. Her lips curled into a charming smile. He left the black market. Lin Feng returned to his residence. Shui Yuexin followed Lin Feng to Lin Feng's residence. She smiled and said, Lu Shaoqing seems to be interested in young master. I guess she will send me away halfway and find a chance to be alone with young master. Lin Feng smiled and said, Is that so? I can't guess what she will do. I'll have to trouble you today. It's getting late. You should go back and rest. Hearing Lin Feng asking her to go back, Shui Yuexin felt a little disappointed. She wanted to stay with Lin Feng for a while. In his heart, he was even vaguely anticipating some things to happen. However, Lin Feng didn't do what she expected. Then I'll go back first. Young master must be very tired. You should rest early. Shui Yuexin said. Okay. Lin Feng nodded. He sent Shui Yuexin out of the courtyard and went back. Shui Yuexin looked at Lin Feng's courtyard with resentment, and then walked towards the beast carriage not far away. Back in the room, Lin Feng took out the sacred ancestor Buddha stone. The blood on the sacred ancestor Buddha stone had dried up long ago. However, it still contained a powerful Buddhist nature. When one calmed down, one could vaguely hear the chanting of ancient Buddhas resounding in the world. This sacred ancestor Buddha stone is really extraordinary. I wonder what kind of secret is hidden in it. Lin Feng couldn't help but murmur to himself. He sat down cross-legged and held the sacred ancestor Buddha stone in his hand. He tried to feel the Tao in the sacred ancestor Buddha stone. However, Lin Feng tried many times but couldn't feel the Tao in the sacred ancestor Buddha stone. However, Lin Feng didn't give up because of the failure. He continued to feel the Tao in the sacred ancestor Buddha stone. Time passed slowly and no one knew how long had passed. Lin Feng felt that there was a lot of divine power in the world. He was wrapped in the divine power, and it felt very comfortable. Namo Amitabha. Chapter 4907. Lin Feng opened his eyes when the old voice rang out. He immediately saw a world of darkness before him. Endless darkness shrouded the land. A lone temple was emitting endless Buddhist light. The darkness wanted to devour the temple, but it was unsuccessful. Keek keek! A sinister and terrifying laughter rang out from the darkness. There was clearly an extremely terrifying creature in the darkness. Suddenly, a strong wind blew between heaven and earth. The sweeping storm swept towards the lone temple, wanting to destroy it. But at this moment, an old monk appeared above the temple. Behind the old monk, there was an endless amount of Buddhist light. The halos made him look even more sacred. This was an eminent monk who had achieved the Tao. Moreover, his status in Buddhism was probably extremely high. Even Lin Feng felt that the old monk gave off a holy and otherworldly feeling. He couldn't help but want to kneel down and worship the old monk. Infinite Moke! After the old monk appeared, he put his palms together. Although his voice was old, it was filled with righteousness and holiness. Moreover, his voice was very strong and powerful. As soon as the old monk's voice fell, the storm that was sweeping in from all directions disappeared completely. Old bald donkey, your methods are really brilliant! The creature hidden in the darkness said coldly. He had been besieging the temple for a long time, but he couldn't take it down. The old monk that appeared just now wasn't the old monk's original body. It was just an incarnation. The old monk didn't respond to the mysterious creature in the darkness. Rumble! At this moment, huge stars fell from the sky in the darkness. Due to the intense friction with the air when the huge stars fell, those huge stars burned. Those huge stars smashed towards the temple. It was an extremely terrifying divine ability. It summoned meteorites from outer space, and then attacked the target fiercely. Vajra Light Shield! At this moment, the old monk's voice rang out. A huge golden light shield appeared and enveloped the temple. Bang, bang, bang! The huge stars smashed into the golden light shield, and an earth-shaking collision sound was heard. The power of the golden light shield was truly terrifying. It was actually able to withstand the collisions of one star after another. All the attacks of the stars were blocked by the golden light shield. Slash! An exasperated voice came from the darkness. Clearly, the creature in the darkness was extremely angry. He used all sorts of methods to attack the temple. This caused him to feel a deep sense of humiliation. At that very moment, he took out a treasured sword. It was actually an ancient weapon. The power of that ancient weapon was simply too terrifying. With the ancient weapon in his hand, he slashed at the temple, intending to destroy it. At this moment, in the great strength hall inside the temple, an old monk put his palms together. And at this moment, outside, above the temple, the old monk that appeared did the exact same thing as the old monk in the Hall of Great Strength. He suddenly clasped his hands together. When the terrifying sword light of the ancient weapon came flying over at a high speed, Yi Zichen was shocked. The old monk that appeared above the temple clamped down on the dazzling sword light with both hands. What powerful strength! Lin Feng was shocked. The old monk was indeed too powerful. He actually displayed such shocking combat strength. He was truly worthy of being a Buddha. A Buddha was also very rare in Buddhism. What kind of Buddhist monk could be called a Buddha? The present, past, and future Buddhas could be called Buddhas. In addition, the 7 great ancient Buddhas could also be called Buddhas. Of course, in the long history of Buddhism, there were definitely other experts who could be called Buddhas. However, such existences were too rare. And the old monk in front of him was such a powerful existence. The mysterious creature in the darkness seemed extremely irritable. He kept roaring and his eyes flashed with killing intent. After the old monk blocked the opponent's attack, he continued to sit cross-legged and prepared to deal with the opponent's next attack. Obviously, the old monk was not moving to deal with the situation. No matter what the creature in the darkness used, he had a way to deal with it. The old monk's methods were indeed very extraordinary. At that moment, a middle-aged monk came to the old monk's side and said, "Master, you've been fighting for a long time and your magic power has been greatly depleted. Disciple has the holy spring water here that can quickly recover your magic power. Master, drink some of the holy spring water." The middle-aged monk took out a porcelain bottle and handed it to the old monk. That porcelain bottle probably contained the holy spring water. "Thank you, disciple," said the old monk. He opened the bottle and began to drink the holy spring water. However, at that moment, a dagger suddenly appeared in the middle-aged monk's hand. He stabbed the dagger at the old monk's back, wanting to stab the old monk to death. How could it be so easy to sneak up on an expert like the old monk? The old monk grabbed the middle-aged monk's wrist and asked, "Master!" He then asked, "Fa Ming, what are you doing?" "Keek, my lord master, don't you know what I'm doing?" The middle-aged monk laughed sinisterly. You've sided with them. The old monk seemed to have thought of something, and his expression changed drastically. Yes. Lord Master. I've sided with them. If I don't, only death will await me. I don't want to die. Lord Master, why don't you side with them as well? With Lord Master's strength, if you side with them, you'll definitely be put in an important position. The middle-aged monk laughed sinisterly. Master, do you know what you're talking about? The old monk said angrily, enraged at Xiao Chen's failure to fight. Master, you can get angry as well? This is the first time I've seen you get angry. Master Dharma continued to speak in a sinister tone. Clearly, the old monk was angry because of his disciple. The old monk said, I picked you up in the mountains. At that time, you were just a baby in swaddling clothes. I thought that after all these years of Buddhism's teachings, you would definitely have a kind heart and be devoted to Buddhism. Who would have thought that you would still fall into the demonic path? Chapter 4908. Dharma Ming was abandoned in a barren mountain when he was still an infant. He was the demon infant. He was picked up by the old monk. At that time, many people persuaded the old monk to put the demon infant in the forest and let him fend for himself. That was the best home for him. However, the old monk was kind-hearted and could not bear to see a young life die like that. Therefore, he brought the demon infant back to the temple. He also taught the demon infant since he was young. The demon infant was the current Dharma Ming. All these years, Dharma Ming had always been very good and compassionate. However, in the end, he still went astray. This made the old monk's heart ache. He originally wanted to turn a demon into an immortal, but things did not go as he wished. Moreover, after interacting with Dharma Ming all these years, he naturally had a deep relationship with him. Therefore, when he saw Dharma Ming go astray, the old monk had mixed feelings. Demons can also be good, the old monk said. I am more willing to be a demon than a human, Dharma Ming said sinisterly. Then I'll suppress you and use the Buddhist holy technique to cleanse your soul, the old monk said and wanted to suppress Dharma Ming. However, at this moment, Dharma Ming laughed strangely and said, Old bald donkey, I'll let you have a taste of my holy demon annihilation technique. As soon as he said that, Dharma Ming's body began to swell. He seemed to be about to self-destruct. This was a terrifying technique that Dharma Ming had mastered. When his body self-destructed, it would produce a terrifying destructive force that could destroy the world. And he would be reborn from the flames of self-destruction. This technique was very heaven-defying. It was said that it could only be used 10 times in a lifetime. However, in order to deal with this old monk, Dharma Ming decided to use this trump card. Bang! His body instantly exploded. As the old monk was too close to Dharma Ming, when Dharma Ming chose to self-destruct, it was already too late for the old monk to dodge. Therefore, the destructive force of Dharma Ming's self-destruction instantly drowned the old monk. The great strength hall shook violently. When the aftermath of the energy dissipated, the old monk fell to the ground and coughed up blood. Dharma Ming's self-destruction did not kill him. After all, he was in existence at the level of a Buddha. His strength was too powerful. However, no matter how powerful he was, he had suffered such a serious impact. His body's injuries would also be very serious. What happened? At this time, many monks in the other halls rushed over. They saw the old monk on the ground and Dharma Ming, who had just condensed his body. Old bald donkey, your life is really tough, F.A. Ming said sinisterly. F.A. Ming, how dare you sneak attack Master? F.A. Ming, how dare you betray Master? You deserve to die. The rest of the monks also understood what was going on, and they all roared out in anger. Then, the monks rushed towards F.A. Ming, intending to kill him. But at this moment, endless darkness gushed into the temple. Just now, when the old monk was injured by Dharma Ming's sneak attack, the defense system of the entire temple was damaged, so the creature in the darkness seized the opportunity. Darkness. In an instant, it devoured the entire temple. Horrible shrieks kept coming out of the temple. When Lin Feng heard those shrieks, he couldn't help but sigh. These monks! It's over! In the end, only a blood-stained stone broke through the shroud of darkness and disappeared into the sky. All the scenes came to an abrupt end at this point. Lin Feng knew that the scenes he saw were probably some of the things that happened back then. That blood-stained stone was probably formed by the blood of that Buddha-level old monk after his death. That stone. It was the sacred ancestor Buddha stone. Lin Feng continued to comprehend the Tao recorded in the sacred ancestor Buddha stone. That old monk was so powerful, so the Tao he left behind must be extremely terrifying. Although Lin Feng still didn't know what Tao the old monk left behind, it was definitely a Tao that people looked forward to. If he could obtain that Tao, it would be very useful for his own improvement. Now Lin Feng liked to cultivate some top Tao. The Tao here referred to those top divine abilities, immortal sutras, demon sutras, and so on. Because after cultivating these divine abilities and cultivation methods, even if it didn't allow him to make a breakthrough in his realm, it would greatly improve his combat strength. This was a powerful accumulation of power. Slowly, Lin Feng heard the chanting of the ancient Buddha. The voice was very old, but it contained the divine sound of the great Tao. After listening to it, it would make people feel refreshed both physically and mentally. It was like a kind of cleansing of the soul. In the end, ancient runes condensed and formed in Lin Feng's mind. Lin Feng began to comprehend these ancient runes. Heavenly Buddha. Soon, Lin Feng showed an incomparably shocked expression. These runes actually recorded an extremely powerful divine ability, and that divine ability was called Heavenly Buddha. This divine ability was created by the old monk of the Buddha realm. When the divine ability of all true Buddhas was activated, one could summon the phantoms of all true Buddhas to support oneself. This was one of the most powerful offensive divine abilities in the history of Buddhism. It was the supreme technique of Buddhism. When Lin Feng woke up from his cultivation, he was surprised. An excited expression appeared on his face. The sacred ancestor Buddha stone actually recorded such a powerful divine ability of Heavenly Buddha. It was really exciting. Lin Feng began to comprehend the divine ability of Heavenly Buddha. Lin Feng's comprehension of the great Tao was something that ordinary people couldn't reach, so it only took Lin Feng 5 days to learn this divine ability. Lin Feng just came out of seclusion. Someone came to Lin Feng. The person who came to Lin Feng was Lu Xiaoqing's maid. She brought a letter from Lu Xiaoqing. Lin Feng opened Lu Xiaoqing's letter and began to read it. After reading the letter, Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. Lu Xiaoqing said that there was an extremely precious treasure and wanted to invite him to appreciate it. What kind of treasure was it? Why was he acting so mysteriously? Lin Feng didn't know what Lu Xiaoqing was up to. However, Lin Feng was still very interested in the treasure that Lu Xiaoqing had mentioned. Moreover, Lin Feng was skilled and daring. Therefore, no matter what tricks Lu Xiaoqing played, Lin Feng would not be afraid. Lin Feng looked at Lu Xiaoqing's maid and said, "Go back and tell Fairy Lu that tonight I will visit Fairy Lu." After the maid received an affirmative answer from Lin Feng, she took her leave. Lin Feng took a bath, changed into a clean set of clothes, and rested for 4 hours. Chapter 4909. Lu Xiaoqing was a mysterious person. Moreover, her reputation had always been bad. Of course, the rumors about her being indecent might be false, but this woman was definitely not simple. 2 hours later, Lin Feng arrived at Lu Xiaoqing's place. Lu Xiaoqing was the person in charge of the Saint Treasure Pavilion, the largest trading place in the black market. Lin Feng was not particularly clear about the background of the Saint Treasure Pavilion. However, since the Saint Treasure Pavilion was able to take root in a large city like the Western Paradise City and was the largest trading place, it was clear that the Saint Treasure Pavilion had the support of a powerful faction. Under the guidance of the servant girl, Lin Feng met Lu Xiaoqing. The servant girl tactfully retreated, leaving only Lin Feng and Lu Xiaoqing in the hall. Lin Feng cupped his fists and said, Fairy, you said that you have a treasure and invited me to appraise it together. May I know what it is? Lu Shaoqing stood up and came to Lin Feng's side. With an aggrieved expression, she said, Did you come here just to appraise the treasure? This servant thought that young master had come to see this servant. Lin Feng naturally did not fall for Lu Shaoqing's trick. Of course, Lin Feng did not mind putting on a show. Thus, Lin Feng said, I came here to appraise the treasure, and to see Fairy Lu. Hearing Lin Feng's words, Lu Shaoqing looked at Lin Feng charmingly and said, You really know how to make me happy. Lin Feng asked, Can you take out the treasure now? Lu Shaoqing could not help but roll her eyes. He thought to himself, Is this guy a blockhead? Of course, Lu Shaoqing did not say this out loud. Lu Shaoqing continued, I understand that you want to quickly appraise the treasure. Now let's do it. After saying that, Lu Shaoqing fell towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng reacted quickly and supported Lu Shaoqing, allowing her to sit on the bench, instead of letting Lu Shaoqing fall into his arms. This action caused Lu Shaoqing to look at Lin Feng resentfully. Fortunately, there was no one else here. If someone else saw the look in Lu Shaoqing's eyes, they would definitely be furious. Many people even felt that Lin Feng must have done something to Lu Shaoqing. That was why Lu Shaoqing had such a sorrowful expression. Lin Feng said, I didn't see the treasure that Fairy was talking about. You haven't taken it out yet, have you? Lu Shaoqing said coquettishly. The treasure I'm talking about is me. What? Is the treasure you're talking about yourself? Lin Feng was stunned. Then, he was speechless. This woman really made people not know whether to laugh or cry. Pooh! Seeing Lin Feng's depressed expression, Lu Shaoqing immediately laughed. She said, I was just teasing you just now. Lu Shaoqing stood up and said, The treasure that I'm going to show you is a stone artifact. Stone artifact? Lin Feng was surprised and immediately said, Celestial Maiden, please take out the stone artifact. Lu Shaoqing nodded and waved her hand. A stone artifact flew out. It was actually a stone cauldron. Lin Feng had seen many stone artifacts, but Lin Feng rarely saw stone cauldrons. In the past, cauldrons were the king of all artifacts. In fact, even now, cauldron-type artifacts had a very high status. For example, some ancient immortal dynasties and ancient divine nations would say, Cauldron world. One of them was the word cauldron. Cauldrons represented the world. Especially in the era of the ancient divine emperor, cauldrons represented the world's peace. Cauldrons protected the four directions. It meant that with cauldrons guarding the four directions, there would be no rebellion. From this, one could see the special status of cauldrons in history. The Stone Age was the beginning of the epoch. Therefore, cauldrons had a very high status. Cauldrons in the Stone Age often represented many special meanings. Was Lu Shaoqing's stone cauldron the same? That was hard to say. He would need to examine it to know. Lu Shaoqing said, There are many runes on this stone cauldron. However, these runes are too mysterious. They are extremely ancient runes. I feel that these runes are not simple. You can study it carefully, and see if you can find any abnormalities. Hearing this, Lin Feng nodded and came to the side of the stone cauldron. He carefully observed it. It was a green stone cauldron. He did not know what material it was made of, but it was densely covered in runes. Lin Feng recognized many ancient runes, but Lin Feng did not recognize the runes on this stone cauldron. Lin Feng could not help but frown. He transmitted his voice to the Demon Lord and asked, Demon Lord, look at the runes on this stone cauldron. Do you recognize these runes? After hearing Lin Feng's transmission, the Demon Lord flew out of the tomb in the Demon Pearl. Through the endless void, he looked at the runes on the stone cauldron. When he saw those runes, the Demon Lord's face revealed a shocked expression. This is Shenong rune, the Demon Lord said. Shenong rune? What kind of rune is this? Lin Feng asked. A type of rune invented by Shenong, the Demon Lord said. Hearing this, Lin Feng could not help but be shocked. Shenong, one of the 3 emperors. Back then, Shennong tasted hundreds of herbs and wrote the book, Shennong Records. Only then did the later generations know what the various herbs were used for. As one of the 3 emperors, Shennong played a huge role in the development of the epic. Moreover, Shennong was the ancestor of the human race. He was one of the 3 earliest ancestors of the human race. Shennong had an indelible contribution to the human race. Unfortunately, Shennong had become a sinner in the eyes of many. Shennong's descendants had also become sinners' descendants in the eyes of many. A few years ago, Lin Feng had seen Shennong's eldest daughter, Yaoji. She had been trapped for countless years and was on the verge of death. She hoped that he could go to the Wei River Lake to find Shennong, but the Wei River Lake seemed to be in the celestial realm. He could only wait until he reached the celestial realm to see if Shennong's descendants were still there. Lin Feng did not expect to see a stone cauldron branded with Shennong runes here. Lin Feng asked, "Could this stone cauldron be the legendary Shennong cauldron?" The Shennong cauldron was one of the greatest treasures in the history of the human race. Moreover, it was said that the Shennong cauldron was one of the symbols of the human race for a very long time. It represented the foundation of the human race's orthodoxy. But later, the Shennong cauldron disappeared. Generations after generations of human experts had tried to find the Shennong cauldron, but to no avail. The Shennong cauldron disappeared for countless years. It did not reappear until the end of the epic. If the stone cauldron in front of him was the Shennong cauldron, then its significance was too extraordinary. It was not something that ordinary top-tier treasures could compare to. Once the Shennong cauldron appeared, it would definitely be able to gather the souls of billions of humans. Chapter 49:10. The Demon Lord said, "Although it has Shennong's runes, it's not the Shennong cauldron. However, this stone cauldron is still very extraordinary. I have a feeling that this stone cauldron is also an ancient cauldron forged by Shennong." After hearing the Demon Lord's words, Lin Feng couldn't help but be surprised. He asked, "Why do you think so? Everyone's habit of inscribing divine imprints is different. This is just like how everyone's notes are different. Thus, we can tell from the notes whether or not 2 words were written by the same person. The same is true for divine imprints. We can tell from different runes that they were carved by the same person. I've seen Shennong's runes before. Although many years have passed, I still have a deep impression of them. The characteristics of Shennong's runes are exactly the same as the runes on this stone cauldron. It's said that when Shennong was forging the Shennong cauldron, he was always looking for precious materials. At that time, some of the best materials were excellent for forging magical treasures. Before the Shennong cauldron was forged, Shennong had already forged many stone cauldrons, but those stone cauldrons had some flaws. That's why he couldn't forge a perfect Shennong cauldron. We can call those stone cauldrons second-grade Shennong cauldrons," the Demon Lord said. Lin Feng couldn't help but think. If he could find the real Shennong cauldron, it would be of great importance to him and the human race. Lin Feng had always hoped to become the 10th human emperor at the end of the epic. He wanted to lead the human cultivators and rise up in revolt. Then, the human race's bloodline would continue. If he could control the Shennong cauldron, it would be of great help to the human race. Seeing Lin Feng standing there without speaking or moving, as if he was in a daze, Lu Shaoqing couldn't help but feel strange. In fact, Lin Feng was communicating with the Demon Lord. Lu Shaoqing asked, "Young master, did you find any clues?" Lin Feng came back to his senses and looked at Lu Shaoqing. He said, "The runes on this cauldron are Shennong's runes, a type of language created by Shennong. However, this cauldron isn't made from stone. It was forged by Shennong in the past. That's why this cauldron doesn't have much offensive power. Its most powerful aspect is that its ability to refine pills. If that's the case, then it's a pity. I'm not someone who likes to refine pills." Lu Shaoqing sighed. Lin Feng said, "Apart from that, this cauldron was left behind by Shennong, so it's more or less connected to him. Perhaps we can use this cauldron to find Shennong's burial ground." Lu Shaoqing said, "I'm afraid that's as difficult as ascending to the heavens." However, I'm very happy that young master is willing to tell me everything. How about this? Since I have no use for this cauldron, I'll give it to young master. Lin Feng naturally wanted this cauldron. However, he wasn't willing to accept such a valuable gift for no reason. Lin Feng said, "How about this? I'll buy this cauldron for 10 million immortal stones." Lu Shaoqing said unhappily, "This is something that I gave to young master, yet young master insists on buying it. Why is young master so clear with me? If it was something that Shui Yuexin gave to young master, would young master spend money to buy it?" Lin Feng fell silent. If it was something that Shui Yuexin gave to him, Lin Feng naturally wouldn't spend money to buy it. After all, Lin Feng had always had a good impression of Shui Yuexin. However, Lu Shaoqing and Shui Yuexin were different. Let's not talk about whether Lu Shaoqing was a woman of loose morals. Lin Feng didn't like Lu Shaoqing's personality. Lu Shaoqing was very good at scheming. For example, Lin Feng knew that Lu Shaoqing used him as a shield because she needed a shield to reject evil Monk Yuengji's invitation. Secondly, she was suspicious of him and wanted to test him. Hence, she used evil Monk Yuengji to test him. Lu Shaoqing looked pure and innocent, but she was a scheming person. It was difficult for her to treat other people with sincerity. Therefore, Lin Feng wanted to make things clear with Lu Shaoqing. He didn't want to have too much contact with Lu Shaoqing, and he also didn't want to have too much contact with her. Lin Feng said, "Sometimes it's better to be clear with friends." Lin Feng was telling Lu Shaoqing that they were just friends and nothing else. Lu Shaoqing said, "Everyone thinks that what they hear and see is real. However, many times, what they hear may be fake, and what they see may not be real." Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. He could vaguely guess what Lu Shaoqing was referring to. Perhaps she wanted to tell him something. The rumors about her being indecent were all fake. Lu Shaoqing continued, "The world of cultivators is so cruel. It's extremely difficult to establish a foothold in the world of cultivators. It's the same for male cultivators, let alone for women. For a woman to establish a foothold in a world dominated by male cultivators, the price she has to pay in the end is far from what ordinary people can imagine. Sometimes I'm very tired and want to find someone to talk to." As Lu Shaoqing said this, she was already secretly crying. Lin Feng knew that what Lu Shaoqing said was actually very reasonable. It was already very difficult for a cultivator to establish a foothold, let alone a female cultivator. Moreover, Lu Shaoqing was a beautiful female cultivator. The sadness behind it was destined to be something that no one else knew about. Seeing Lu Shaoqing crying there, Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. One of the things that Lin Feng didn't want to see the most was a woman crying, especially a woman falling down. It would always easily arouse his sympathy. Who asked Lin Feng to be a man who had tender feelings for the fairer sex? Therefore, when he saw Lu Shaoqing's pitiful appearance, he couldn't bear it. Lin Feng said, "Thank you for your kindness, Fairy. I'll accept this ancient cauldron. In the future, if Fairy has any problems, you can come to me. If I can help Fairy, I will definitely not refuse." Hearing this, Lu Shaoqing's beautiful face revealed a trace of a smile. She looked at Lin Feng and said, "I have a request now." "What request?" Lin Feng asked. Chapter 49:11. After hearing Lu Shaoqing's request, Lin Feng immediately laughed bitterly. Lu Shaoqing was very beautiful. In any ancient city, Lu Shaoqing's appearance could be ranked in the top few. Especially since her figure was hot, but her face was very pure. Generally speaking, a woman with a pure face was usually a woman with a thin and petite figure. A woman with a sexy figure often had a charming face. But Lu Shaoqing was not like that. It was precisely because of this extreme contrast in figure and face that appeared on a person's body. That was why it was even more charming. If it were any other man, they would probably be extremely excited after hearing Lu Shaoqing's request. But Lin Feng was not like that. Although Lin Feng liked women, he cared more about feelings. Lin Feng also understood Lu Shaoqing's experience. It was indeed not easy for Lu Shaoqing, but it was a bit difficult for him to hug Lu Shaoqing. At the very least, he would have to wait until Lin Feng had that kind of special feeling for Lu Shaoqing before he would be interested in hugging Lu Shaoqing. Pfft. At this time, Lu Shaoqing laughed and said, "I was just joking with young master. I am not a casual person." "Fairy, you are so naughty!" Lin Feng laughed and said. Lin Feng stayed with Lu Shaoqing for 2 hours. They talked about many things. Lu Shaoqing told him about her life, including her childhood. Lin Feng didn't want to waste time with Lu Shaoqing, but he didn't want to waste time with her. When Lu Shaoqing was in her teens, her family had already been ruined. Later on, she was sold to a brothel for young girls. This kind of place specialized in collecting beautiful girls or young girls, and then focused on nurturing them. After they grew up, they would be sold to high officials and nobles. Lu Shaoqing spent her youth in this kind of place, and then she was bought. One could imagine how miserable her fate would be in the future. However, on the night Lu Shaoqing was bought, she took advantage of the lax security to escape. Later on, she was accepted as a disciple by a deacon of the Saint Treasure Tower. Only then did her fate change. Later on, after many years of hard work, step by step, he climbed to his current position. These years, it was indeed not easy, and he had experienced many things. Most of the time, one needed to scheme against others to survive. Lu Shaoqing had never told anyone about her past, but for some reason, Lu Shaoqing felt that Lin Feng was someone worthy of her trust and someone worthy of her confiding in. Lin Feng quietly listened to Lu Shaoqing talk about her past. He couldn't change anything, but at least he could be the most sincere listener. After Lin Feng left Lu Shaoqing's place, Lu Shaoqing sat alone in the living room, holding her cheek in a daze. Lu Shaoqing finally understood why she trusted Lin Feng so much and wanted to have more contact with Lin Feng. The cause was a few days ago. She had witnessed the entire conflict between Lin Feng, Shui Yuexin, Li Xiaolu, and Sikong Maobai. Lu Shaoqing was not envious of Lin Feng's extravagant spending for Shui Yuexin. She was envious that Shui Yuexin had someone by her side who was willing to protect her when others humiliated and bullied her. Originally, Lu Shaoqing thought that Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin were lovers, so Lin Feng stood up for Shui Yuexin. However, Lu Shaoqing asked someone to investigate the relationship between Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin. After the results of the investigation, Lu Shaoqing found out that Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin were not lovers at all. Lin Feng was just a passing traveler in the little western paradise city. He knew Shui Yuexin because Lin Feng went to the Baishao Pavilion to inquire about information. Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin had only met a few times. Wasn't it nonsense to say that they were lovers? Perhaps they were just ordinary friends. As for Lin Feng, in order to protect an ordinary friend, he did not hesitate to offend a powerful force like the Sikong family. After knowing this, Lu Shaoqing had a new understanding of Lin Feng. She had never seen someone like Lin Feng. To be able to become Lin Feng's friend. Perhaps it was an extremely lucky thing. If she became Lin Feng's lover, how would Lin Feng protect her? Just thinking about it made her feel extremely excited. Actually, Lu Shaoqing was extremely insecure. Therefore, she saw a sense of security in Lin Feng that women could rely on. This was the main reason why Lu Shaoqing wanted to stay by Lin Feng's side. When Lin Feng returned to his residence, he saw a woman standing outside the courtyard. It was none other than Shui Yuexin. Under the moonlight, Shui Yuexin was extremely beautiful. She was an extremely beautiful woman. Now, under the moonlight, it added a special charm to her. Seeing that Lin Feng had returned, Shui Yuexin was extremely happy. Lin Feng invited Shui Yuexin to come with him. "It's already so late. Is there something you need from me?" Lin Feng looked at Shui Yuexin and asked. "There is indeed something. I have something that I would like to ask for your help with," Shui Yuexin said. "Tell me about it," Lin Feng said with a smile. Shui Yuexin said, "It's a letter from my family. I'm a member of the White Fox clan. A few years ago, my father was severely injured because of an operation by the clan. His meridians were damaged and he became a cripple. Ever since he became a cripple, my clan's status has been declining rapidly. However, the relationship between these big clans is not something that can be completely separated. Especially when it comes to marriage, it's not something that can be decided by the younger generation. My father sent a letter saying that the clan wants to have a marriage alliance with a big immortal sect. The higher-ups of the clan thought of me and wanted me to marry them. All these years, no one cared about the life and death of my clan. Back then, my brother was bullied in the sect. He fought back and injured someone. The other party wanted us to pay a huge sum of immortal stones. We wanted to seek justice from the clan, but they didn't care about our life and death. Now that the clan wants to have a marriage alliance, these people thought of our clan, but I'm too weak to resist. So, I hope that you can accompany me back and pretend to be my lover. That way, they won't be able to force me to marry them again. After Shui Yuexin said that, she looked at Lin Feng with a pitiful look. As the saying went, every clan had its own difficulties. Shui Yuexin's life was indeed very difficult. Lin Feng said, "All right, I'll accompany you when the time comes. When are we leaving?" Hearing that Lin Feng had agreed to accompany her, Shui Yuexin became very happy. She said, "How about we leave tomorrow?" Lin Feng nodded. "No problem." Shui Yuexin stayed with Lin Feng for a while before leaving. She was full of smiles when she left. It was so good to have Lin Feng by her side. It was a pity. Chapter 49:12. The next day. Shui Yuexin had come to see him, so Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin left. The man was handsome and dashing. The woman was enchanting. They naturally attracted a lot of attention along the way. However, not long after he left his residence, evil energy rolled in the distance. A large amount of evil energy surged in the void. Within the evil energy, there were a few cultivators floating in the air. Not long after, those cultivators quickly flew over. Lin Feng slightly raised his brows after seeing the cultivators inside. The cultivators within the evil chi were all monks. Lin Feng recognized one of them, Evil Monk Yuanji. Lin Feng didn't know the other monks. Evil Monk Yuanji and the others had extraordinary cultivation bases, so they could do whatever they wanted outside. No one dared to offend them. Since Evil Monk Yuanji and the others were recklessly releasing their auras, they naturally attracted the attention of many cultivators. Due to that, many cultivators followed Evil Monk Yuanji's group, wanting to see what these monks were up to. It didn't take long before they saw Yuanji's group stop. Evil Monk Yuanji and the others quickly surrounded the two cultivators. To everyone's surprise, the two cultivators surrounded by Evil Monk Yuanji and the others were very young. Did these two offend Evil Monk Yuanji? Offending Evil Monk Yuanji's group wouldn't end well. "Isn't that woman Shui Yuexin from the all-knowing pavilion?" Suddenly, a cultivator recognized Shui Yuexin's identity and spoke out. "That's right, it's Shui Yuexin," someone else said. The other party also recognized Shui Yuexin. Shui Yuexin had some reputation in the Little Western Paradise City. After all, Shui Yuexin was so beautiful. The cultivators of the Little Western Paradise City had also set up a beauty ranking for the many female cultivators in the city. Shui Yuexin was in the top 3. Thus, everyone was amazed after hearing that the woman was Shui Yuexin. She was indeed beautiful. Especially Shui Yuexin's seductive charm, it was not a temperament that an ordinary woman could possess. Perhaps it had a lot to do with the fact that she was a vixen. "Who's that young cultivator with Shui Yuexin? He looks like a young human cultivator, but he doesn't look familiar. He doesn't look like a cultivator from Minor Western Paradise." Another cultivator talked about Lin Feng. "Indeed, he doesn't look like a cultivator from Minor Western Paradise. Maybe he's a young noble from a certain power? There aren't that many top powers in the human race, but there are still a few. Evil Monk Yuanji's group is here for him, right? Did he offend Evil Monk Yuanji? I'm afraid he won't be able to leave this time. Evil Monk Yuanji's group has always been lawless and murderous." Many cultivators in the surroundings were discussing. In their opinion, Lin Feng's fate of death after offending evil monk Yuanji. More importantly, evil monk Yuanji's group wasn't just strong but also had the advantage in numbers. Lin Feng was only a young cultivator. How could he fight against evil monk Yuanji? There were a few cultivators in the crowd who had participated in the trade fair. When they saw evil monk Yuanji's group surrounding Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin, they couldn't help but raise their eyebrows. They had witnessed everything and knew that Lin Feng wasn't as simple as he looked. Lin Feng was definitely a powerful figure. Anyone who dared to underestimate Lin Feng would suffer a great loss. However, they weren't sure if Lin Feng would be able to gain an advantage in the upcoming conflict. After all, evil monk Yuanji didn't come alone this time. A few of his fellow disciples were with him. They had heard of these people and knew that they were very strong. The leader was called Evil Monk Yuanfa, a true immortal expert. He was Evil Monk Yuanji's eldest senior brother. "Kid, have you thought about how you're going to die?" Evil Monk Yuanji looked at Lin Feng with a cold smile. Before seeing Lin Feng, Evil Monk Yuanji had already thought of many ways to torture Lin Feng. If he let Lin Feng die a quick death, it would be too easy for Lin Feng. Evil Monk Yuanji wanted Lin Feng to experience all kinds of pain before he died. That was the only way. Only then would he be able to vent his hatred. Lin Feng glanced at the original machine god indifferently. "I was wondering who it was." "So it's you, a piece of trash. Why did you come here and block my way? What do you want? Are you trying to send your little grandpa out of the city on your knees?" Lin Feng's words silenced the crowd. Lin Feng's words were too arrogant. No one had expected Lin Feng to say something like that. He was extremely daring. That wasn't enough to describe Lin Feng, was it? Many people thought Lin Feng was crazy. Otherwise, how could he say something like that? How could he act so recklessly? "That kid is dead for sure. Evil Monk Yuanji and the others. They won't let him go," a cultivator said. Many people nodded in agreement. "You're courting death. You're courting death. You're courting death." Evil Monk Yuanji flew into a rage after being humiliated by Lin Feng. However, he knew that Lin Feng wasn't easy to deal with, so he didn't make a move immediately. "How interesting. You even dare to offend someone from the Western Horizon region. I'm curious, who gave you such courage?" Evil Monk Yuanfa, the leader of the group, said. Lin Feng said calmly. "Of course, it's my own confidence. When a person is strong enough, they will be able to deal with anything calmly, just like me. Stop bragging, kid. You think you're invincible just because you're a little strong? What a joke. Yuanji, Yuan Kong, Yuan Hai, the three of you attack together. Don't kill him. Capture him alive," Evil Monk Yuanfa said coldly. "Yes, eldest senior brother." The three evil monks stepped forward after hearing Evil Monk Yuanfa's order. The three of them, Evil Monk Yuanji was the weakest among them. However, he was also a heavenly immortal. Evil Monk Yuan Kong and Yuan Hai were both quasi-true immortals. The three of them had been together for many years, so they had great teamwork. The three of them each took out a treasure. Evil Monk Yuan Kong took out a demon-subduing ruler. The demon-subduing ruler quickly enlarged and released terrifying energies which moved towards Lin Feng. Evil Monk Yuan Hai took out a seal of mountains and seas. The seal of mountains and seas rapidly enlarged and pressed down on Lin Feng. Evil Monk Yuanji took out a gilt sword. The gilt sword was branded with mysterious runes. When it was activated, it shone with dazzling golden light. The three evil monks attacked at the same time. Chapter 49-13. The three evil monks have joined the fray. "That kid is dead for sure!" Exclamations were heard all of a sudden. In many people's eyes, the three evil monks had joined the fray. It was almost impossible for Lin Feng to resist. Moreover, the three evil monks had taken out their magic treasures to deal with Lin Feng. It could be seen how cautious the three of them were. This made everyone very confused. Against a young cultivator like Lin Feng, why be so cautious? No matter what, Lin Feng was dead for sure. Even the cultivators who had seen Lin Feng fight before could not help but frown at this moment. They were not optimistic about Lin Feng's chances. After all, 2 of the 3 evil monks were quasi-true immortals. With their powerful cultivation and the assistance of their magic treasures, the combat power they could display was unimaginable. Seeing that the magic treasures of the 3 evil monks were about to hit Lin Feng stretched out his right hand. Then, he gently pointed at the magic treasures of the 3 evil monks. Suddenly, something terrible happened. Everyone saw that the magic treasures of the 3 evil monks had changed directions. The 3 magic treasures rushed toward the 3 evil monks. After seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. They did not know what had happened. The scene in front of them was really too strange. Why were the 3 magic treasures attacking the 3 evil monks? Those were the 3 evil monks' most precious treasures. Just a moment ago, they were attacking Lin Feng. The 3 evil monks' faces changed drastically. They wanted to dodge, but it was too late. The main reason was that the 3 magic treasures had caught them off guard. Puff! 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 Along with the sound of tearing, the 3 evil monks' bodies were directly torn apart by their magic treasures. They flew backward and fell to the ground, dead. It's him. It's that young master. He just pointed in the direction of the 3 magic treasures, and the 3 magic treasures immediately changed directions and attacked the 3 evil monks, forcibly depriving others of the right to use their magic treasures. What kind of means did he use just now? Does he know any demonic arts? Many cultivators exclaimed. The 3 evil monks' deaths were too humiliating. They were caught off guard by their own magic treasures and died in the end. Everyone looked at Lin Feng with deep respect. Lin Feng's means were too shocking and terrifying. Although they did not know what kind of means Lin Feng had just used, it was indeed terrifying. If they were to fight against Lin Feng, wouldn't they be unable to use their magic treasures? Because if they used their treasures, Lin Feng would be able to control their treasures. Everybody knew what would happen then. What happened to the 3 evil monks was a lesson to be learned from. It's the weapon mantra of the 9 mysteries. At that moment, a white-haired old man's voice. What? The 9 mysteries have been lost? Oh my God, the legend of the 9 esotericas is true? I thought it was just a legend. Who is this brat? He actually cultivated the 9 mysteries of Taoism? When the old man said that Lin Feng's technique was the weapon mantra of the 9 mysteries, the crowd went into an uproar. Many cultivators had heard of the 9 mysteries, but no one had actually cultivated it. Thus, they thought that it was only a legend and that there was no real legacy in this world. But now, they finally found out that the 9 mysteries really existed. The 9 mysteries! The supreme legacy of Taoism! Rumor has it that even the Tao Gate no longer had the cultivation method of the 9 mysteries. Brat, you deserve to die 1,000 times over. Evil monk Yuan Fa was furious after seeing Lin Feng kill his 3 junior brothers. His gaze towards Lin Feng was filled with murderous intent. Lin Feng sneered. You're the one who deserves to die. Kill yourself and you won't have to suffer a painful death. If I were to take action, you'd die a horrible death. The spectators smiled wryly after hearing Lin Feng. Lin Feng was as arrogant as ever, but they didn't think highly of Lin Feng anymore. Many people thought that since Lin Feng was so arrogant, he had the right to be arrogant. However, some felt that Lin Feng was being too arrogant because evil monk Yuan Fa was different from the 3 dead monks. Evil monk Yuan Fa was a true immortal. Yuanji's group couldn't compare to him at all. Although Lin Feng killed the 3 evil monks by manipulating their magic treasures with the Bing mantra recorded in the 9 mysteries, Lin Feng might not be a match for them in a head-on clash. Many people thought so. They felt that Lin Feng was lucky to have killed the 3 evil monks. After all, a divine power like the Bing mantra probably wouldn't work every time. When Lin Feng activated the Bing mantra, it happened to work. What else could it be but luck? However, when facing a terrifying existence like evil monk Yuan Fa, his luck was about to run out. Brat. What kind of genius haven't I seen over the years? However, this is the first time I've seen someone as arrogant as you. Today, I'll let you have a taste of my divine power. Evil Monkey on Fa shouted coldly. Then, a demonic light surged in his body. A large amount of demonic light surged. After the demonic light surged out, a large amount of Buddhist light surged out. The demonic light and the Buddhist light intertwined. He turned into a terrifying half-Buddhist, half-demon creature. This, a dual Buddhist and demonic cultivator, shall be slain by all living beings. The half-Buddhist, half-demon cultivator spoke. His voice was like the sound of death drifting out from hell. The half-Buddhist, half-demon cultivator walked toward Lin Feng, wanting to kill Lin Feng. When the surrounding cultivators sensed the aura emitted from the half-Buddhist, they couldn't help but tremble violently. Everyone's face couldn't help but reveal a terrified expression. The half-Buddhist, half-demon existence was too terrifying. Anyone who sensed the aura of this terrifying existence would feel their soul trembling. The cultivators who originally thought that Lin Feng could defeat evil Monkey on Fa changed their minds after seeing the half-Buddhist, half-demon existence. They were extremely pessimistic about Lin Feng, thinking that Lin Feng would definitely die. At this moment, Lin Feng made his move. Everyone saw it. Lin Feng jumped up and turned into a dazzling sword light in midair. The sword light streaked across the sky. The half-Buddhist, half-demon creature was instantly split in half. Chapter 49:14. Evil Monkey on Fa didn't even know how he died. His body fell to the ground, and blood flowed all over the ground. He was a perfected immortal, and he cultivated both Buddhism and devil. He was much stronger than perfected immortals of the same level. However, in the face of Lin Feng's attack, he couldn't even withstand a single blow. Anyone who saw this scene would feel incredulous, right? It was indeed too inconceivable and too shocking. So much so that the surroundings became silent. At this moment, the dazzling sword chi once again transformed into Lin Feng's original body. Everyone looked at Lin Feng. Everyone's hearts seemed to have been set off by monstrous waves, including Shui Yuexin. She originally thought that she already knew Lin Feng quite well, but only now did she realize that her understanding of Lin Feng was only the tip of the iceberg. Perfected immortals couldn't even withstand a single blow from Lin Feng. The key was that Lin Feng was too young. He was like a character that only appeared in fairy tales. Fellow Taoist, you're really amazing. I'm impressed. I'm Zhang Wentian, the Supreme Elder of the Western Heaven Immortal Sect from the small Western Heavenly region. I wonder if I can be friends with you. At this moment, an old man stepped forward, cupped his fists, and looked at Lin Feng politely. After hearing the identity of this old man, everyone was shocked. There were many forces in the small Western Heavenly region, including many Buddhist forces. However, if one were to ask which force was the most powerful in the small Western Heavenly region, it must be the Western Heaven Immortal Sect. The Western Heaven Immortal Sect was very distant from the Buddhist sects of the Western Heavenly region. This sect had been rooted in the small Western Heavenly region for hundreds of millions of years. It was a force that had been passed down since the ancient times. Its foundation was incomparably powerful, and it belonged to the feudal lords of the region. There weren't many supreme elders of the Western Heaven Immortal Sect. However, although there were few of them, their cultivation bases were top-notch. Those supreme elders were all experts of the Western Heaven Immortal Sect. Some of them were even experts who came out of the divine stones. Therefore, the supreme elders of the Western Heaven Immortal Sect should be experts of the perfected immortal realm. In addition, there was the Western Heaven Immortal Sect behind them. The supreme elders of the Western Heaven Immortal Sect were much more noble than ordinary perfected immortal experts. However, even though he had such a high social status, he was still talking to Lin Feng in a polite and respectful way. However, no one felt that there was anything wrong with Zhang Wentian doing this. For a young expert like Lin Feng, it was hard to imagine just how terrifying he would become in the future. Therefore, if they could make friends with Lin Feng at this time, it might be of great help to them and the forces behind them in the future. Many cultivators wanted to make friends with Lin Feng, but they were not qualified at all. The people who could go up and make friends with Lin Feng were at least at the level of Zhang Wentian. So it's fellow Taoist Zhang. Nice to meet you. I've always liked to make friends. If it were any other time, I would definitely have a few drinks with fellow Taoist Zhang. But now I have something urgent to deal with my friends, so I can only wait until the next time I meet fellow Taoist Zhang, and have a few drinks with you. Lin Feng cupped his fists and said. Lin Feng didn't need to say what his name was, he believed that Zhang Wentian could find out. Well, the next time we meet, we must not go back until we're drunk, Zhang Wentian said with a smile. Some elders, great elders, and disciples of the Western Heaven Immortal sect couldn't help muttering. The old ancestor of their sect was usually an extremely serious person. When had they ever seen him so happy? Obviously. The old ancestor, who was usually extremely serious and even reserved, was now all smiles because of the excessively young and powerful cultivator. Okay, next time I will definitely get drunk. Lin Feng cupped his fists. Before leaving, he put away the storage rings of Evil Monk Yuan Fa and others. There were at least 1 billion immortal stones in the storage rings of these 4 people. Although Lin Feng was not short of immortal stones. But he didn't mind having more immortal stones. After putting away those storage rings, Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin left together. After leaving the little western paradise city, Lin Feng summoned the 3-headed viper. Now that the 3-headed viper had broken through to the celestial immortal realm, the speed of its breakthrough was extremely fast. Lin Feng was also quite satisfied with the 3-headed viper's cultivation speed. Of course, the 3-headed viper's cultivation speed was so fast. Firstly, it was cultivating in time and space. Secondly, it had obtained a large amount of cultivation resources. No matter what cultivation resources it needed to improve its cultivation, Lin Feng could provide it. This is my mount. Let's ride it to your clan, Lin Feng said. Ah? This is your mount? A celestial immortal realm mount? Shui Yuexin was full of shock. But thinking of how powerful Lin Feng was, having a celestial immortal realm mount didn't seem to be a big deal. Lin Feng just smiled at Shui Yuexin's shock. The two of them flew onto the 3-headed viper's huge head. The 3-headed viper flapped its wings, and its huge body soared into the sky. Around them was the sound of the wind, and below them was an endless mountain forest. Shui Yuexin's body silently leaned on Lin Feng. She noticed that Lin Feng didn't reject her, and she couldn't help but feel happy. Soaring above the 9 heavens, this feeling was simply too comfortable. All the pressure seemed to have been swept away. Shui Yuexin couldn't even remember the last time she felt so relaxed. Lin Feng turned to look at Shui Yuexin. He could even see that snowy white skin of hers. What an enchanting woman, Lin Feng asked. Who else is in your clan? Father, mother, younger brother, 2 uncles, 1 uncle, and their families. There are also some cousins, Shui Yuexin said. Lin Feng said. Then you have quite a number of people in your clan. Are there any other experts? Chapter 49-15. Lin Feng's ancestor, Lin Qi, had been through a lot. Lin Feng's ancestor, Lin Qi, had been through a lot. Lin Feng sighed. His ancestor Lin Qi's father fought a bloody battle for the clan, but unfortunately fell in the end. Logically speaking, the Undying clan should treat the descendants of those who died for the clan well. However, that wasn't the case. After his ancestor Lin Qi's father died, Lin Qi's talent was ordinary. Thus, Lin Qi had a hard time when he was young, experiencing the fickleness of human nature. When Lin Qi's mother died, she didn't even have the qualifications to be buried with Lin Qi's father due to her humble background. Lin Qi's heart was completely broken, which was why he left the Undying clan. Later on, Lin Qi's experience fully proved how reasonable this statement was. One would rather bully an old man than a poor young man, Lin Feng said. I heard you say that your younger brother is also cultivating in a sect? That's right, Shui Yuexin said. My younger brother and a few other cousins are all cultivating in the dragon-subduing sect. Although the dragon-subduing sect isn't a particularly big sect, it's still quite famous in the lesser Western Horizon region. Moreover, it's hard to enter a sect that's too powerful without connections. How's their cultivation in the sect? Lin Feng asked. Shui Yuexin smiled bitterly. It's alright. However, it's not particularly outstanding. After all, just relying on the cultivation resources in the sect isn't enough. Also, it's hard for my family to provide them with too many resources. Every month, I'll send them a portion of cultivation resources. But even so, it's still a far cry from those disciples who have family backing them up. However, at least they have a place of protection within the dragon-subduing sect. If the legendary Doomsday battle really happens in the future, the dragon-subduing sect will be able to protect them. Along the way, Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin chatted about many things. Sometimes, Shui Yuexin would muster up the courage to ask Lin Feng some things. Lin Feng would also try his best to answer her questions. Although Shui Yuexin looked charming, she was actually a very pure person. Because of that, Lin Feng felt more comfortable when he was with Shui Yuexin. He didn't like those scheming women. That would be more tiring. Life should be as comfortable as possible. Half a month later, Lin Feng saw Dragon Chi rising tens of li away. Within the Dragon Chi, there seemed to be a huge dragon floating. That's the dragon-subduing sect. The dragon-subduing sect. Shui Yuexin. Lin Feng said. Lin Feng, since we're passing by the dragon-subduing sect, let's go visit them. Hearing Lin Feng say that, Shui Yuexin's. Lin Feng took the initiative to ask to visit her brother and the others. Clearly, Lin Feng didn't mind interacting with them. Didn't this mean that she already had a trace of herself in Lin Feng's heart? Shui Yuexin didn't dare to ask for too much. She was already satisfied to have a little bit of status in Lin Feng's heart. If Little Hao and the others know that young master is going to visit them, they will definitely be very happy, Shui Yuexin said. Lin Feng smiled. The three-headed viper's speed was extremely fast. It didn't take long for them to arrive outside the dragon-subduing sect. After arriving, Lin Feng sent the three-headed viper into the space of time. For the final distance, Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin could fly over together. Lin Feng was a person who kept a low profile. Therefore, if they flew over together, they wouldn't attract too much attention. A power like the dragon-subduing sect recruited all kinds of disciples. Therefore, there would be people coming to visit their clan's disciples every day. However, if they wanted to enter the dragon-subduing sect to visit their family members, they would have to pay 10 immortal stones. This was the rule. After Lin Feng paid 20 immortal stones, he informed the other party that he was going to visit someone. The dragon-subduing sect's disciples would then enter to inform the other disciples. As for Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin, they waited in a cultivator's hall in the dragon-subduing sect. Someone brought Lin Feng and the others to the resting hall. Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin waited for a short while before 7 to 8 young people arrived. Sister! The handsome young man in the lead quickly ran over when he saw Shui Yuexin. He must be Shui Yuexin's younger brother, Shui Zihao. They are here! Shui Yuexin said and stood up. A group of people ran over. The few young men behind Shui Zihao also greeted Shui Yuexin when they saw her. Those people should be Shui Yuexin's cousins. Among them, 2 beautiful young girls hugged Shui Yuexin's arms, one on the left and one on the right. Their eyes would occasionally look at Lin Feng. One of the young ladies said, Sister, who is that big brother that came with you? Could he be our brother-in-law? This young girl did not deliberately lower her voice, so her words were naturally heard by everyone. Hearing that, Shui Yuexin blushed slightly. The others also looked at Lin Feng. Seeing how handsome Lin Feng was and how Shui Yuexin blushed, they were even more certain that Lin Feng was Shui Yuexin's lover. Shui Yuexin originally wanted to explain, but when she saw that Lin Feng did not explain, she did not say anything. Her heart was filled with sweetness and joy. Hee hee, so it really is brother-in-law! Another young lady shouted excitedly. She looked at Lin Feng curiously and said, I am Shui Yuan. What is your name, brother-in-law? I am Ji, Lin Feng said. Brother-in-law, how did you manage to catch up with our sister? I know that our sister has countless suitors, but she has never accepted any of them. Shui Yuan giggled and asked. Cough, cough. Lin Feng coughed dryly. Lin Feng didn't know what to say because Shui Yuan and he didn't have that kind of relationship. Even though he had a good impression of Shui Yuan, they were still friends. Lin Feng didn't explain because he thought that if he explained, Shui Yuan would lose face. It would be better if Shui Yuan explained, but Shui Yuan didn't explain, which surprised Lin Feng. But since Shui Yuan didn't explain, Lin Feng didn't need to. Little girl, don't ask about things you shouldn't ask. Chapter 49:16. Shui Zihao said. Let's not stay here any longer. Why don't we go get something to eat? I believe that brother-in-law and sister haven't had a good meal on the way here. The food in the dragon-subduing sex immortal food hall is not bad, but I don't know if it will suit brother-in-law's appetite. Lin Feng said. I can eat anything. I'm not a picky eater. Everyone immediately laughed because they felt that their brother-in-law was a very approachable person. The group of people headed outside. On the way out, Shui Yuan asked softly, Sister, have you consummated your marriage with brother-in-law? Shui Yuan also asked curiously. That's right, sister. Have you consummated your marriage or not? The two girls were more curious about this matter. Shui Yuan's face turned slightly red. She lowered her voice and said, You two little girls, what nonsense are you talking about? Shui Yuan said. From the looks of it, you haven't consummated your marriage yet. I think brother-in-law is a good person. Sister, you must hold on to him tightly. When a man and woman are together, it's like dry wood meeting fire. You stinking brat, where did you learn all this nonsense from? Shui Yuan said angrily. Shui Yuan said, Sister, don't be angry. I learned all this from romance novels. I feel that some of the words in those novels are very reasonable. After hearing Shui Yuan's words, Shui Yuan felt a little helpless. However, an idea soon appeared in her mind. Could she try the method Shui Yuan mentioned? Perhaps she could confirm her relationship with Lin Feng this way? What am I thinking about? Shui Yuan's face turned red. She sneaked a glance at Lin Feng and saw that Lin Feng's expression was normal. Only then did she let out a sigh of relief. Lin Feng should not have heard the conversation between the three of them. The dragon-subduing sex immortal food hall was bustling with people. Other than the disciples and elders of the dragon-subduing sect, there were also many cultivators who came to visit their clan members. They would often come here to have a big meal and try out the food of the immortal food hall. This would give them something to brag about in the future. The surface area of the dragon-subduing sex immortal food hall was extremely huge. There was a total of 10 levels and it could accommodate several 100,000 people eating together. Brother-in-law, sister, please wait for a while. I'll go and book a private room, Shui Zihao said. Lin Feng knew that eating in this kind of place was not cheap. If he booked a private room, it would be even more expensive. As for the Shui clan's family background, Lin Feng wasn't willing to let them spend so much money. If they had those immortal stones, they might as well use them for cultivation. Therefore, he said, I think there's still room in the hall. We don't need to book a private room. It's the same if we find a table outside. Shui Zihao looked at his sister Shui Yuan awkwardly. Shui Yuan said, Then let's find a place outside. Therefore, the group of people found a place to sit down. Not long after, a paper crane flew over. The paper crane was holding a jade tube in its claws. The paper crane flew to the table where Lin Feng and the others were sitting, and then put down the jade tube. Brother-in-law, use your divine sense to sense it. There are all kinds of delicacies inside. If you fancy a delicacy, use your divine sense to enter it into the jade tube. Then, your order will be successful, Shui Zihao said. Lin Feng clicked his tongue in wonder. The methods of these immortal sects were always somewhat novel. He didn't stand on ceremony. He used his divine sense to enter the jade tube and saw all kinds of dishes. There were probably tens of thousands of dishes. Lin Feng didn't order anything too expensive. He ordered 4 ordinary dishes and then passed the jade tube to Shui Yuexin. Shui Yuexin didn't order anything. She passed the jade tube to Shui Zihao and said, "Take a look and see if there's anything you want to eat. Just order. I'll pay the bill later." Shui Zihao said seriously, "Sister, this meal is on me. This is the first time we meet brother-in-law. Later, we still have to toast brother-in-law." Shui Yuexin blushed and nodded. Lin Feng said, "We don't have to order too much. It's fine as long as there's enough to eat. Otherwise, it'll be a waste." Shui Zihao and the others thought that Lin Feng was very considerate. Besides, he was also very frugal. However, including Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin, there were 10 of them. If they ordered too little, it wouldn't be enough. Hence, Shui Zihao and the rest ordered 10 more dishes and a few jars of wine. The wine was also spiritual wine. Although it couldn't be compared to the wine at Lin Feng's place, it had a different flavor to it. Not long later, the wine and dishes were all served. After Shui Zihao and the rest filled their cups with wine, they stood up and toasted Lin Feng. "Brother-in-law, as your brothers and sisters, we would like to toast you. We wish brother-in-law and sister a happy and loving relationship," Shui Zihao said. Lin Feng raised his cup and drank it in one gulp. Shui Zihao and the rest also drank the wine in their cups in one gulp. "Everyone, quickly sit down and eat," Shui Yuexin said. After everyone sat down, they chatted and laughed. However, halfway through the meal, something unpleasant happened. A group of more than 10 dragon-subduing sect disciples walked over. The disciple in the lead was hugging a female disciple. The female disciple was tall and pretty. When the group of people walked past Lin Feng's table, they sneered. The leading disciple curled his lips and said, "A bunch of paupers. Are they even qualified to eat in the immortal food hall? Zhang Long, don't go too far." Shui Ziyu stood up and said coldly. Shui Ziyu was Shui Yuexin's younger brother. "Shui Ziyu, who do you think you are? Are you qualified to talk to me? I'm talking to Shui Zihao." The disciple called Zhang Long sneered. "Yiru you," Shui Yuexin said. She looked at Su Yiru, who was in Zhang Long's embrace. She knew Su Yiru. She grew up with her younger brother Shui Zihao. The two of them could be considered childhood sweethearts, and had joined the dragon-subduing sect together. Shui Yuexin also knew that her younger brother Shui Zihao and Su Yiru were lovers. But now, Su Yiru was in the embrace of another man. "Brother Long, let's go. Aren't we going to meet a big shot? Let's not waste time." Su Yiru ignored Shui Yuexin and looked at Zhang Long. Zhang Long nodded and looked at the group of people. "This young master can't be bothered to talk to a bunch of lowly people like you." Then, he hugged Su Yiru and walked in. "Zihao, what's going on?" Shui Yuexin asked. The other members of the Shui clan didn't look too good. Clearly, many things must have happened in between. Shui Zihao sighed and said, "Sister, it's nothing. If couples aren't suitable for each other, they will break up. This kind of thing is very common." Chapter 49-17. Actually, Lin Feng had already guessed the whole story. Su Yiru and Shui Zihao were childhood sweethearts, and they were even lovers. However, after joining the dragon-subduing sect, Su Yiru realized that the world she knew was very different from the outside world. There were all kinds of people in the dragon-subduing sect. In such a sect, only those with money and power could stand above the rest. Those without money and power were destined to be bullied and humiliated. Before joining the dragon-subduing sect, Su Yiru didn't experience such things. Hence, her relationship with Shui Zihao was very pure. However, after joining the dragon-subduing sect, all kinds of things and comparisons started to corrode Su Yiru's heart. Shui Zihao, who came from an ordinary family, couldn't give her the kind of life she wanted. Hence, Su Yuru abandoned Shui Zihao and went into the arms of another man. Zhang Long probably knew that Su Yuru was with Shui Zihao in the past, so he naturally didn't treat Shui Zihao well. If he could find a chance to humiliate Shui Zihao, he wouldn't mind doing such a thing. What Lin Feng could guess, Shui Yuexin could too. She felt that it was unfair for her brother, and her heart ached for him. She wanted to say something, but was stopped by Lin Feng. Lin Feng knew what Shui Yuexin wanted to say, but those words shouldn't be said. Lin Feng called, "Zihao!" Hearing Lin Feng calling him, Shui Zihao hurriedly looked at Lin Feng. Said Lin Feng, smiling, "Life is very long. We will experience countless things and meet countless people. We just need to cherish those who cherish us, not those who have abandoned us. Let's not grieve for those who have given up on us. In the future, when you look back on your youth, you will realize that the sadness at that time will make you laugh." "Brother-in-law, I..." Shui Zihao wanted to say something, but Lin Feng interrupted him. Lin Feng then pointed at a few female disciples eating at a table not far away and said, "Look at that female disciple wearing a white dress, isn't she beautiful? Does she have a good figure?" Shui Zihao didn't know what Lin Feng wanted to do, but he still nodded. "Go over and ask her what her name is. Then tell her that I want to hit on you," Lin Feng said. "Pooh!" Shui Yuan, who had just drunk a mouthful of water, suddenly spat it out. This was his brother-in-law. How could he be so valiant? "I don't dare," Shui Zihao said awkwardly. "You're a man. How dare you say you don't dare? If you were my younger brother, I would have beaten you until half your body was paralyzed after hearing what you said," Lin Feng said. Shui Zihao gritted his teeth, stood up and walked towards the female disciple. Very quickly, Lin Feng and the rest saw the female disciple splashing the water on Shui Zihao's face. Shui Zihao was like a defeated rooster as he came back with his head drooping. "Brother-in-law, I failed," Shui Zihao said with a sullen face. Lin Feng said, "It's normal for you to fail. That girl is as cold as ice. One look and you can tell that she's not easy to get along with. She's so beautiful, so she must have a lot of suitors. Therefore, when facing those suitors who tried to hit on her, she wouldn't give them a good look. So, it's normal for you to lose out. If you didn't lose out, that would be abnormal," Shui Zihao said with a bitter smile. "Then why did you ask me to go over when you knew that I would end up like this? It's because you want to train your courage. When you meet someone who can't get over it, your courage will be smaller. To put it bluntly, you'll feel inferior. Zihao, you need to rely on yourself for this kind of thing. So, when you're free, you can try to hit on the beautiful female disciples. The more you get rejected, the more courageous you'll become, and the more confident you'll be," Lin Feng said. Shui Yuan said, "Brother-in-law, after being rejected so many times, won't you lose your confidence?" Lin Feng said, "Of course not. After being rejected so many times, your skin will become thicker. Those thick-skinned people have a mysterious self-confidence. Have you ever seen such a person?" Shui Yuan's eyes lit up. "That's true. Those thick-skinned people have a mysterious self-confidence. I don't even know where their self-confidence comes from. Now that brother-in-law has said it, I finally understand." Shui Yuan then looked at Shui Zihao and said, "Fourth brother, you can do as brother-in-law says. When your skin becomes thicker, you won't care about the past anymore." "All right, I'll work hard." Shui Zihao clenched his fists and said. At this moment, a voice came from behind. "Is that young Master Ji?" Everyone turned around and saw a dozen cultivators. The one who spoke was a middle-aged cultivator. Shui Zihao and the others thought that these people were here to visit their disciples, so they didn't pay much attention to them. Lin Feng frowned slightly and asked, "Who are you?" "Young Master Ji, my master is the one you met a few days ago," the middle-aged man said carefully. As a disciple, he naturally didn't dare to call his master by his name. Lin Feng also knew who this person's master was. It should be the number one power in the minor Western Horizon region, the Western Heaven Immortal Sect's Grand Elder Zhang Wentian. Lin Feng had some impression of this person. Although he couldn't be considered particularly strong, he was still a true immortal. Lin Feng said, "So it's fellow Taoist Zhang's disciple. What are you doing here? Could it be that you have disciples cultivating in the dragon-subduing sect?" Lin Feng immediately felt that this shouldn't be the case. The dragon-subduing sect was worlds apart from the Western Heaven Immortal sect. Since this person was Zhang Muntian's disciple, he should be someone with a high position in the Western Heaven Immortal sect. The descendants of his family could naturally cultivate in the Western Heaven Immortal sect. There was no need for them to cultivate in a second-rate power like the dragon-subduing sect. "Wouldn't that be a waste of time?" the middle-aged man said. "It's a friend of mine. It's going to be his birthday soon, and I just happened to pass by here, so I came to visit him." "So that's the case. Then you can go back to your work." Lin Feng waved his hand. "No rush, no rush. I'll stay here and chat with young master for a while," the middle-aged man said with a smile. Shui Yuexin could roughly guess the middle-aged man's identity, but she didn't say anything. Shui Zihao and the others felt strange. Why was this middle-aged man so careful in front of their brother-in-law? Even if their brother-in-law had a good background, this middle-aged man didn't need to be so reserved, right? However, Shui Zihao and the others were still young, so they didn't think too much about it. Chapter 49-18. Shui Zihao brought over a stool for the middle-aged cultivator and said, "Uncle, please have a seat." The middle-aged cultivator looked at Lin Feng. If Lin Feng didn't say anything, how would he dare to sit down? After seeing this scene, the Shui clan's juniors became excited. It seemed like their brother-in-law was quite extraordinary. At the very least, big sister Yuexin wouldn't have to suffer anymore. Of course, these people definitely wouldn't have thought that the middle-aged man was someone who could make the entire small western sky region tremble with the stomp of his feet. In fact, Lin Feng didn't know what position this guy held in the Western Sky Immortal sect, but it should be quite extraordinary. "Did your master come out to deal with some matters?" Lin Feng looked at the middle-aged man and asked. The middle-aged man sat on the stool and said carefully, "Master didn't come out to deal with matters. He just came out of seclusion not long ago, so he came out to walk around and relax." Lin Feng said, "It seems like Brother Zhang is quite open-minded. Actually, walking around more is also good for your cultivation." Yes, young master's teachings are right. Master also taught us the same." The middle-aged cultivator quickly nodded. When Shui Zihao and the others heard Lin Feng talking to the middle-aged cultivator, and even talking about cultivation, they couldn't help but have a strange feeling in their hearts. As for who this brother Zhang that Lin Feng mentioned was, they didn't know. However, since that brother Zhang was this middle-aged cultivator's master, he should be a very old person, right? Could it be that his brother-in-law and this middle-aged man's master were friends despite the difference in age, so this middle-aged man respected his brother-in-law so much? Everyone thought about it carefully and found that this made sense. After all, in the world of cultivators, there were indeed many friends despite the difference in age. While Lin Feng was chatting with the middle-aged man, Lin Feng suddenly realized something. Zhang Long and Su Yura had already arrived outside the Supreme Box on the 10th floor. Those lackeys naturally didn't have the qualifications to come up. Su Yura carefully followed Zhang Long into the private room. She raised her head and peeked inside. Immediately, he saw many important figures. For example, the dragon-subduing sex peak masters. They were the dragon-subduing sex grand elders and vice-sect heads. Seated in the middle was a middle-aged man with a very imposing aura. That middle-aged man was none other than the dragon-subduing sex sect master. Although Su Yura had joined the dragon-subduing sect for quite a few years, she had only seen the portrait of the dragon-subduing sex sect head. She had never seen the dragon-subduing sex sect head in person. Obviously. Today was the gathering of the upper echelons of the dragon-subduing sect. Ordinary disciples didn't have the qualifications to come over. The reason why Zhanlong was able to come over was because Zhanlong's grandfather was the peak master of the dragon subduing sect's Heaven Gaze Peak. His status was only below the sect master, a few vice sect masters, and a few grand elders. They belonged to the upper echelons of the dragon subduing sect. In fact, not to mention ordinary disciples, even ordinary elders were not qualified to enter the box. Sui Ro was even less qualified. But now that she was following Zhanlong, she was able to see these big shots. This greatly satisfied Sui Ro's vanity. Disciple Zhanlong greets the sect master, vice sect master, elders, and peak masters. Zhanlong bowed to everyone. Suyura didn't dare to say anything. She only knelt on the ground with Zhanlong. She didn't even dare to raise her head, fearing that she would commit a taboo. However, those big shots didn't pay any attention to Zhanlong and Suyura. Zhanlong's grandfather waved his hand, causing Zhanlong to jump in fright. He hurriedly stood up. The old man and Suyura walked to the left. There were quite a few young elites there. Vice Sect Master Wang Zhanping said, "Lord Sect Master, this subordinate reckons that it's about time. Should we go and welcome that big shot from the Western Heaven Immortal Sect?" The dragon subduing sect's sect master was called Qin Fulong. He said, "There's no need to specially send people to welcome him. You all don't understand his character. He hates this kind of complicated ceremony the most. If he sees a large group of us going out to welcome him, he will definitely be extremely unhappy. I heard that big shot was good friends with Lord Sect Master when they were young. I wonder if the rumors are true?" A grand elder asked curiously. Qin Fulong nodded. "That's right. We were good friends back then. Even after so many years, we still keep in contact," another grand elder said. "I heard that he has already broken through to the quasi-true immortal realm." "Yes." Qin Fulong smiled and said, "This good friend of mine has extraordinary talent. In addition, his master, Zhang Wentian, is a true immortal realm expert. Therefore, it might not be long before this good friend of mine can break through to the true immortal realm." Many people sucked in a breath of cold air. True immortals were different from each other. For example, those true immortals who sealed themselves in divine stones, and then walked out of them were restricted by the laws of heaven and earth. Their potential was far inferior to those cultivators who had broken through to the true immortal realm in this era. If they broke through to the true immortal realm in this era, their future achievements would definitely be limitless. Those juniors couldn't help but feel excited. They knew that the big shot that the upper echelons of the sects were talking about was a big shot from the Western Heaven Immortal Sect. If they could catch the eye of this big shot from the Western Heaven Immortal Sect, they might be able to follow that big shot to cultivate in the Western Heaven Immortal Sect. Compared to the Western Heaven Immortal Sect, the dragon subduing sect was not even worth mentioning. The foundation of those peak forces was simply unimaginable. Therefore, everyone was looking forward to the arrival of that big shot. Right at this moment, knocking sounds could be heard from outside. "Come in," one of the vice sect masters said. Following that, an elder walked in. That elder bowed to the upper echelons and then quickly walked over to Qin Fulong. Then, he whispered something into Qin Fulong's ear. "What? Is what you said true?" Hearing that, Qin Fulong stood up. His face was filled with disbelief. The rest of the people were shocked. Their sect master, who had always been expressionless. Why would he reveal such an expression? Obviously, at this moment, Qin Fulong had somewhat lost his composure. Something big must have happened. Or else, their sect master would definitely not reveal such an expression. But what exactly had happened? Everyone was unsure. "Bring me to take a look." Qin Fulong looked at the elder beside him and said. That elder hurriedly nodded. He led the way in front. And Qin Fulong didn't have time to explain anything to everyone. Instead, he hurriedly followed behind that elder and headed outside. The other vice sect masters, grand elders, peak masters, and many other disciples were also shocked. Chapter 49-19. Lin Feng poured a cup of wine for the middle-aged cultivator sitting beside him. The middle-aged cultivator was overwhelmed by the favor. He quickly held the wine cup with both hands. Lin Feng said, "You don't have to be so reserved, I've always been casual." Yes, don't be reserved, don't be reserved," the middle-aged cultivator hurriedly said. He was obviously at a loss when Lin Feng personally poured wine for him. At the same time, he was also very excited. An unimaginably powerful expert, an expert that even his master had to lower his status to make friends with. He actually poured a cup of wine for him. If this young master drank with his master, it should be his master pouring wine for him. But now, he poured a cup of wine for himself. How could the middle-aged cultivator not be excited? Shui Zihao, Shui Yuewen and the rest couldn't help but find it funny. Wasn't that middle-aged cultivator too reserved in front of his brother-in-law? He probably hadn't seen much of the world, right? His psychological qualities seemed to be too weak. Shui Yuewen whispered in Shui Yuexin's ear, "Sister, who is that uncle? He can't be someone from the secular world, right? That's why he's so ignorant. He looks pretty funny right now." Hearing Shui Yuewen's words, Shui Yuexin was almost scared to death. Others didn't know the middle-aged man's identity, but Shui Yuexin did. That middle-aged man's master was the Western Heaven Immortal Sect's Grand Elder, Zhang Wentian. Although Shui Yuexin didn't know the middle-aged man's name, she knew that his master was so terrifying. Presumably, the middle-aged man's identity was also extremely extraordinary. He might even be a big shot who could destroy the dragon-subduing sect with a flick of his finger. That middle-aged man was so reserved beside Lin Feng because he knew how powerful Lin Feng was. And if others dared to casually talk about such an expert, they might be annihilated. "Don't talk nonsense!" Shui Yuexin glared fiercely at Shui Yuewen. This was the first time Shui Yuewen saw Shui Yuexin's stern gaze and couldn't help but jump in fright. She shrunk her neck and didn't dare to talk nonsense. "The spirit wine of the dragon-subduing sect doesn't taste too good. However, there's a unique fragrance to it. Something special must have been added into it," Lin Feng said. The middle-aged man said, "I heard that a type of spirit herb that only grows near the dragon-subduing sect was added. That's why it's so fragrant." Lin Feng nodded and said, "I see. You should try it too." Hearing this, the middle-aged man downed the wine in his cup. The middle-aged man had naturally drunk countless good wines before, but for some reason, he felt that there had never been any wine that tasted as good as the one in front of him. At this moment, many people in the hall looked in the direction of the stairs. A group of cultivators came down in a hurry. "Oh my God, it's the sect master, the vice-sect master, the grand elder, the peak leaders, and the others. They're all the higher-ups of the sect. Why did all the higher-ups come down? Furthermore, he looks like he's in a hurry. Did something big happen?" In the hall on the first floor, there were many disciples, deacons, elders, and cultivators who had come to visit their disciples. When those people saw a group of big shots coming down, they were all incomparably shocked. Many people stood up. "Lord Sect Master, over there!" The elder who led the way pointed to the table where Lin Feng and the others were at. Qin Fulong looked over and saw his good friend, the vice-sect master of the Western Heaven Immortal Sect, Zhou Qiyu, sitting on a stool with half of his butt and talking to a young cultivator. When he saw this scene, there was only one thought in Qin Fulong's mind. How could this be? However, very soon, he knew. That young master was definitely not an ordinary person. Or else, why would his good friend be so careful? Who exactly was he? Why would he appear in the dragon-subduing sect? Many higher-ups of the dragon-subduing sect had seen Zhou Qiyu's portrait. Therefore, everyone recognized Zhou Qiyu at once. However, when they saw Zhou Qiyu sitting on a stool with half of his butt and carefully talking to a young cultivator, all the higher-ups of the dragon-subduing sect were shocked. They couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it. All sorts of thoughts surged in their minds. Who's that young master? Qin Fulong looked at the disciple beside him, Qin Chong. Qin Chong was his clansman, and knew everyone in the sect like the back of his hand. Qin Chong smiled bitterly. I don't know who that person is. He should be a foreign cultivator. However, I have some impression of the disciples sitting on his table. They seem to be from the White Fox clan's branch. However, that branch has long declined. They can't even provide cultivation resources to their disciples. I really don't understand why they would know such a big shot. Qin Fulong couldn't understand this matter either. Therefore, he decided to take things one step at a time. It's the Lord Sect Master and many higher-ups of the sect. Shui Ziyu saw Qin Fulong and the others walking over quickly. He was instantly shocked. When had he ever seen so many higher-ups? Walala! The disciples of the Shui clan all stood up. They lowered their heads and didn't dare to look at those big shots. They were afraid that they would break a taboo. Not long later, Qin Fulong and the others walked over. The vice sect master and the others stopped a dozen meters away. Only Qin Fulong walked over cautiously. Fulong, you're here! Seeing Qin Fulong coming over, Zhou Qiyu greeted him. Fulong? That middle-aged uncle who speaks carefully in front of brother-in-law actually dares to call the sect master by his name? What's going on? The juniors of the Shui clan looked at each other. They couldn't believe their ears. They even thought that they must have heard wrongly. They had always thought that the middle-aged uncle was someone from the secular world. However, it seemed that he wasn't. That middle-aged uncle actually dared to call their sect master by his name. Chuyu! I'm here! Qin Fulong cupped his fists. Zhou Qiyu hurriedly said, This is my master's good friend, young Master Ji. Qin Fulong was a smart person. He understood the meaning behind his good friend's words. Zhou Qiyu's master was a true immortal expert. In that case, only cultivators of the same level were qualified to be Zhang Wentian's good friend. In other words, this young master who was a little too young was a true immortal expert. Wasn't this too inconceivable? Could it be that the descendant of the ancient sacred emperor of the human race had been born? Qin Fulong's heart was already in a state of turmoil. However, he was still someone who had seen some of the world. Qin Fulong cupped his fists and said, Greetings, young Master Ji. Lin Feng nodded and said, Find a place to sit. Hearing that, Qin Fulong moved a stool over. Half of his butt sat on the stool and carefully looked at Lin Feng. 7th update. Looking for recommendation votes. Monthly votes. Chapter 49-20. There was a mistake in the Shinong cauldron left behind by Shinong. It said that the Wei River Lake was in the middle sacred continent, not the heaven realm. However, it was written as the heaven realm by mistake. It has been corrected. Shui Zihao and the others did not dare to look at Qin Fulong. But at this moment, in their hearts, it was as if a monstrous wave had been set off. Their minds even went blank. The sect master of the dragon's subduing sect. High and mighty. The sect master that they had to look up to. Now they had to be careful with their words in front of their brother-in-law. They only dared to sit on the bench with half of their buttocks. They did not even dare to think about such a thing before. His brother-in-law only looked like a handsome young master. Moreover, he was very approachable. Shui Zihao and Shui Yuan had guessed that their brother-in-law might have a good family background. But now they knew. Their guesses, they were very wrong. Their brother-in-law was definitely an unimaginable existence. Or else, how could he make those big shots act so cautiously? Who is that young master? I don't know him. Even the sect master has to be careful. His identity must be so big that it can scare people to death. Many disciples were discussing. Many beautiful female disciples could not tear their eyes away from Lin Feng. Young. Handsome. Unimaginable mysterious identity. Such a man was simply the Prince Charming in their hearts. You all have a seat too, Lin Feng said. Shui Zihao and the others came back to their senses and sat down. However, they seemed to be a little cautious. After all, two big shots were sitting there. Are these disciples the young master's relatives? Qin Fulong asked carefully. Brother Ji is our brother-in-law, Shui Yuan said. Then, she realized that she had been too presumptuous, and was so frightened that her face turned pale. However, seeing that these big shots had no intention of blaming her, she heaved a sigh of relief. So that's how it is. I can see that all of you are very talented. I have only accepted 3 disciples so far. If all of you wish to take me as your master, I wonder if I can have the honor of accepting a few of you as my disciples? Ah? Sect Master, you want to take us as disciples? Shui Yuewen suddenly exclaimed. They didn't even have the qualifications to be apprenticed to ordinary elders. Now, the high and mighty sect leader actually wanted to take them as disciples. Moreover, when the high and mighty sect master spoke, he didn't even refer to himself as this seat. Instead, he used I to refer to himself. Taking them in as disciples, and asking him if he had the honor to do so? Wasn't this too unbelievable? Wasn't happiness coming too suddenly? The surrounding disciples who were watching the show all looked at the Shui clan members with envy and jealousy in their eyes. They knew that the siblings from the Shui family were about to strike it rich. Shui Zihao and the others were very excited. They wanted to agree. At this time, Zhou Qiu said, Brother Qin, actually, I was just about to talk to young Master Ji about this matter. Although our Western Heaven Immortal sect isn't considered a major force, we're still considered one of the top forces in the Little Western Heaven region. Therefore, our resources are better than the Dragon Subduing sect. Moreover, I'm the Vice Sect Master of the Western Heaven Immortal sect, and I haven't accepted any disciples yet. Therefore, I want to bring these youngsters to the Western Heaven Immortal sect to cultivate. When Qin Falong heard Zhou Qiu, he smiled wryly. He knew that Zhou Qiu wanted to curry favor with Lin Feng. That was why he had said that. Wasn't he also trying to curry favor with Lin Feng? However, when Zhou Qiu said those words, Qin Falong knew that he didn't have much of a chance. Qin Falong didn't blame Zhou Qiu. After all, with Lin Feng's ability and connections, wasn't it easy for him to arrange for Shui Zihao and the others? Even if they didn't go to the Western Heaven Immortal sect, they probably wouldn't stay in the Dragon Subduing sect. What? This middle-aged man is the Vice Sect Master of the Western Heaven Immortal sect, the number 1 force in the Little Western Heaven region. Shui Zihao, Shui Yuewen, and the others were dumbfounded. They didn't expect that this middle-aged man who was so reserved in front of their brother-in-law was actually the Vice Sect Master of the Western Heaven Immortal sect. That was their brother-in-law? Who exactly was he? The surrounding disciples of the Dragon Subduing sect were also dumbfounded. Who exactly is that young master? That was the question in everyone's mind. They were extremely curious about Lin Feng's identity, especially the female disciples. They wanted nothing more than to offer themselves to him immediately. What are you guys thinking? Lin Feng looked at Shui Zihao and the others. We want to join the Western Heaven Immortal sect, Shui Zihao said. Joining the Western Heaven Immortal sect was the dream of every cultivator in the Little Western Heaven region. Moreover, it was to become the disciple of the Vice Sect Master of the Western Heaven Immortal sect. Ha ha! Good. When I return to the Western Heaven Immortal sect, you guys can follow me to report to the sect, Zhou Qiu said with a smile. When the others saw that the siblings of the Shui clan had become the disciples of the Vice Sect Master of the Western Heaven Immortal sect, they were filled with envy. This was especially so for Su Yiru. Her eyes turned red. Su Yiru wanted to be above everyone else. Therefore, she abandoned Shui Zihao, who was born ordinary. Then, she turned around and entered Zhang Long's embrace. But now, Shui Zihao had become the disciple of the Vice Sect Master of the Western Heaven Immortal sect, Zhou Qiu. Moreover, Shui Zihao had a terrifying identity that made the sect master, Qin Falong, and the Vice Sect Master of the Western Heaven Immortal sect, Zhou Qiu, have to be careful when talking to him. One could imagine, from now on, Shui Zihao would have a meteoric rise. Zhang Long was not even worth mentioning when compared to Shui Zihao. Not to mention Zhang Long, in the future. Perhaps Shui Zihao would not even care about the Dragon Subduing sect. Thinking that she had abandoned Shui Zihao and was now a stranger to him, Su Yiru immediately regretted it. If If she was still by Shui Zihao's side, didn't that mean that she could also become the disciple of the vice sect master of the Western Heaven Immortal sect, Zhou Qiyu? Su Yura believed that if Shui Zihao put in a good word for her, Zhou Qiyu would definitely accept her as a disciple. However, all of this was just wishful thinking. Yuexin and I still have some things to deal with, so we won't stay here for long. As for Zihao and the rest, pack up your luggage and then go to the Western Heaven Immortal sect with Zhou Qiyu. As for the matter of you going to the Western Heaven Immortal sect to cultivate, we will tell your families, Lin Feng said. Shui Zihao and the others hurriedly nodded. Now they still felt that it was unreal. They couldn't even believe that they had become the disciples of the vice sect master of the Western Heaven Immortal sect, Zhou Qiyu. But all of this was real. Lin Feng got up and walked outside. Chapter 49-21. Very soon. A group of people arrived outside. Shui Zihao said, "Brother-in-law, sister, be careful on the road." Lin Feng nodded. Shui Yuexin said, "All of you must cultivate well in the future. Do not slack off." Shui Zihao and the rest knew that this opportunity was not easy to come by. Naturally, they did not dare to slack off. If they slacked off, then they would be letting down their brother-in-law's help, their sister's expectations, and their own lives. Lin Feng waved his hand and the three-headed viper flew out. The huge body coiled on the ground as its cold eyes looked around. Celestial Immortal Level Mount! After seeing the three-headed viper, many people could not help but exclaim. Such a high-level mount was naturally very rare. Now, everyone was even more curious about Lin Feng's identity. It was already inconceivable for big shots like Zhou Qiyu and Qin Futian to be so respectful towards him. Even his mount was at the celestial immortal level. His identity. Once it was revealed, it would definitely shock the world. Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin flew to the head of the three-headed viper. Following which, the three-headed viper let out a low roar. Then, it flapped its wings and its huge body soared into the sky and quickly flew away. Only when the three-headed viper's figure had completely disappeared did everyone regain their senses. "Chuyu! Let's sit inside!" Qin Fulong looked at Zhou Qiyu and said. He was now extremely envious of Zhou Qiyu. Now that Zhou Qiyu had become the master of Shui Zihao and the rest, and Lin Feng was the brother-in-law of Shui Zihao and the rest. From now on, Zhou Qiyu and Lin Feng could be considered to be on good terms. Although Qin Fulong did not know Lin Feng's true identity, so what? Although he did not know Lin Feng's true identity, he was sure that Lin Feng was an incomparably terrifying existence. Moreover, he was still so young. It was hard to imagine how much he would grow in the future. After forming a relationship with Lin Feng, if Lin Feng extended a helping hand during the Doomsday battle, they might be able to survive. Zhou Qiyu said, "Dragon subduing! Originally, I wanted to stay here for a few days, but now that I've accepted Zihao and the others, I want to take them back to the sect as soon as possible and let them undergo the immortal baptism. You know, the sooner the immortal baptism of our Western Heaven Immortal sect, the better, so we can't delay it any longer." Many people's eyes lit up after hearing the words, immortal baptism. Which cultivator in the minor Western Heavenly region had never heard of the immortal baptism? It was said that cultivators who had undergone the immortal bath's baptism would have their talents greatly increased. It was also said that some of the potential within their bodies would be unlocked. Even a cultivation trash could become a cultivation genius after going through the immortal bath. However, the cost of the immortal bath was extremely high. Many genius disciples of the Western Heaven Immortal sect had to go through numerous competitions before they were qualified to undergo the immortal bath. However, Shui Zihao's group hadn't even joined the Western Heaven Immortal sect yet, but they had already reserved a spot for the immortal bath. Who wouldn't be envious of this? Everyone knew that all of this was because Shui Zihao's group had an awesome brother-in-law. Many elders were extremely regretful. If they had accepted Shui Zihao's group as disciples back then, perhaps their status would have risen as well. However, it was too late to think about this now. Very well, let's meet again in the future, Qin Fulong said. Zhou Qiyu took out a white jade box and handed it over to Qin Fulong, saying, Fulong, I came here in a hurry this time, so I didn't prepare anything too precious. This is an immortal pill that my master gave me before. It is very helpful in comprehending the grand Tao of true immortality. This immortal pill is my congratulatory gift to you. Qin Fulong's eyes suddenly lit up. He accepted the white jade box and said, Thank you for your generous gift, Qiyu. We're brothers, there's no need to be so polite, Zhou Qiyu said with a smile. Then he looked at Shui Zihao and the others and said, Zihao, you guys go and pack your things now. Master will wait for you here. When you come back, we'll set off for the Western Heaven Immortal Sect, Shui Zihao said. Reporting to Master, we've basically brought everything with us. We can leave now. In that case, let's go now, Zhou Qiyu said and was about to leave. At this time, Su Yiru ran out of the crowd. She grabbed Shui Zihao and said, Zihao, take me with you to the Western Heaven Immortal Sect. I beg you to take me with you to the Western Heaven Immortal Sect. Shui Zihao's expression was slightly ugly. He didn't say anything to Su Yiru. When Su Yiru left without hesitation, they were already strangers. Su Yiru, don't you have any shame? In the past, you despised my fourth brother's poor background and couldn't give you the material life you wanted, so you betrayed him and followed Zhang Long. Now that my fourth brother has been accepted as a disciple by Master and has joined the Western Heaven Immortal Sect, you're trying to get close to him. Don't you find yourself disgusting? I find you disgusting. Quickly take your hand away, don't grab my fourth brother, lest you dirty his clothes. Shui Yuwen had a fiery personality. She was usually very impetuous. While scolding Su Yiru, she stretched out her hand to grab Su Yiru, wanting her to let go of Shui Zihao. Many people knew about this matter, so when they saw Su Yiru pestering Shui Zihao, they couldn't help but talk about it. They looked at Su Yiru with disdain. Zihao, I love you. We grew up together, and I've always loved you deeply. I was wrong in the past. Can you give me another chance? Take me with you. From now on, I will love you wholeheartedly. I won't be fickle-minded anymore. After Su Yiru was pulled away, she was still struggling to pounce on Shui Zihao. Your love. It's cheap. It's dirty. Shui Zihao looked at Su Yiru with indifference. Originally, Shui Zihao was immersed in pain. Now, after seeing Su Yiru's crazy state, Shui Zihao completely walked out of his sadness. A man. Why worry about not having a wife? Why be sad for a woman who didn't know how to behave? Doing that was really stupid. No, Zihao, I know you still love me. You're just angry with me, so you deliberately said those words to anger me. Zihao, I will change. I will love you wholeheartedly. Please give me another chance, I beg you, give me another chance. Sui Ran shouted. Master, let's go. Shui Zihao ignored Su Yiru and looked at Zhou Qiyu. Chapter 49-22. Don't leave me behind! Don't leave me behind! Zihao! Why are you so cruel to me? Why are you doing this to me? I love you so much, but you hurt me like this. Su Yiru cried as though she was heartbroken. Those who didn't know would think that Shui Zihao had done something outrageous to her. Zhang Long's expression was extremely ugly. Now, everyone knew that Su Yiru was his woman, and Su Yiru did such a thing. She made him lose all his face. Who is this woman? Since when did our dragon-subduing sect have such an unruly person? Qin Fulong's expression was extremely ugly. Su Yiru had made a fool of herself just now. Yet, his good friend Zhou Qiyu was still here. Wasn't she making a fool of herself? Su Yiru didn't just embarrass herself. She also embarrassed the dragon-subduing sect and Qin Fulong. Zhang Long! You disgraceful thing! Hurry up and drag her away! Zhang Long's grandfather's expression changed slightly as he glared at Zhang Long. Zhang Long saw that the sect master was angry, and was so frightened that his body trembled. He quickly dragged Su Yiru away. Humph! Qin Fulong flung his sleeves and soared into the sky, flying toward his palace. The other vice-sect masters, grand elders, and peak masters also left with him. As for the ordinary disciples, attendants, and elders, they started discussing today's matter. It brought them too much shock. It was enough for them to discuss for a long time. In the afternoon of the same day, the sect master of the dragon subduing sect, Qin Fulong, personally issued a few orders. First, Su Yiru, who ruined the reputation of the dragon subduing sect, was to be expelled. Second, Zhang Long, who often bullied ordinary disciples, was to be thrown into prison for life. Third, Zhang Long's grandfather, Zhang Wei, was to be removed from the position of Peak Master of Heaven's Gaze Peak. Soon, Qin Fulong's orders were issued. After knowing the contents of the orders, the dragon subduing sect was in an uproar. Obviously, Qin Fulong made these decisions because of Lin Feng. He had done that to show Lin Feng what he had done. Even if Lin Feng wasn't here, Qin Fulong knew that the news would reach Lin Feng. Many people naturally understood Qin Fulong's motive for doing so. As for what happened in the dragon subduing sect, Lin Feng didn't know yet. At that moment, Lin Feng was lying down on the gigantic head of the three-headed viper, looking extremely relaxed. Shui Yuexin sat beside Lin Feng. Smelling the alluring fragrance of Shui Yuexin's body, it was really a pleasure. Thank you for your help today. Because of this, Zihao and the others were able to join a large sect like the Western Heaven Immortal sect. Moreover, Zihao and the others were able to become disciples of the Western Heaven Immortal sect's vice-sect leader. In the future, Zihao and the others would definitely have a bright future. Yu Xian will definitely remember young master's great kindness in her heart. No matter what you asked me to do, I will do it. Shui Yuexin looked at Lin Feng and said gratefully. Lin Feng said with a smile. Are you really willing to do anything for me? Shui Yuexin looked into Lin Feng's eyes. Her face instantly turned red. Her heart couldn't help but beat violently. Shui Yuexin felt that Lin Feng's gaze was extremely passionate when he looked at her. That gaze caused Shui Yuexin's heart to be in a mess. However, Shui Yuexin was vaguely looking forward to something. She said with a red face. Yu Xian always keeps my words. Lin Feng said. All right then, come over and help me massage it. I feel like my body is getting rusty recently. Hearing that, Shui Yuexin half knelt beside Lin Feng. Then, she stretched out her slender hands and started massaging Lin Feng. Lin Feng closed his eyes and slowly enjoyed it. 5 days later, they arrived at Black Mountain City. The reason why Black Mountain City was called Black Mountain City was because there was a pitch-black mountain 100 li northwest of the city. Hence, Black Mountain City was named after it. The White Fox tribe had always been located in Black Mountain City. Other than the White Fox tribe, there were a few other large and small clans in Black Mountain City. Although Black Mountain City wasn't considered a particularly powerful ancient city, there were a few powerful clans here. Hence, the overall strength of Black Mountain City was quite good. Outside Black Mountain City, Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin flew down from the head of the three-headed viper. Then, Lin Feng kept the three-headed viper into the temporal space. Then, Lin Feng followed Shui Yuexin into Black Mountain City. In Black Mountain City, there were many people coming and going. It was very lively. Because the city was close to the ancient forest of the Little Western Paradise, many cultivators who went in and out of the ancient forest settled down in Black Mountain City. After Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin entered Black Mountain City, they immediately attracted many people's attention. Many people couldn't help but praise them secretly. What a pair of golden boy and jade girl! After an hour, Shui Yuexin brought Lin Feng to their residence. It was a courtyard near the northwest corner. The courtyard wasn't very big, but it was relatively clean. There were a few children who looked around 7 or 8 years old playing at the entrance. After seeing Shui Yuexin return, the children immediately ran inside excitedly. As they ran, they shouted loudly, "And is back, and is back." After hearing the children's shouts, many people came out one after another. The first to come out were a few men and women who looked to be in their 30s. Fifth sister, you're back. You must be tired, quickly go in and rest. Two ladies came forward and said. They were not from the White Fox tribe. Lin Feng guessed that they were Shui Yuexin's sister-in-law. As expected. Shui Yuexin looked at the two ladies and called out, Sister-in-law! Then, she looked at a few young men and called out, Elder brother! Those young men were probably Shui Yuexin's cousins. Yuexin, this brother is… One of them looked at Lin Feng and asked curiously. Lin Feng said, My name is Ji, and I'm Yuexin's lover. Hearing that, Shui Yuexin's cousins and two sisters-in-law were shocked. This was because they had never heard of Shui Yuexin dating anyone. Shui Yuexin didn't mention it when she came back last time. However, the last time she came back was 2 years ago, so it was normal for her to find someone she liked in these 2 years. That's good. Now that Yuexin has a lover, does the main tribe still want to separate Brother Ji and Yuexin? Chapter 49-23. The rest of the Shui family came out too. Shui Yuexin's uncle, 2 uncles, aunts and aunts were there. Her father and mother were there as well. Shui Yuexin's father was in a wheelchair. His meridians had been severed for too long and both his legs were crippled. Her mother pushed the wheelchair out. It could be seen that Shui Yuexin's mother was definitely a beauty when she was young. Even now, she was still charming. However, life was too difficult, leaving many marks of time on her face, making her look much older than her actual age. She was also much more tired. Father! Mother! Shui Yuexin hurried forward when she saw her parents coming out. Sigh! Shui Yuexin's father sighed. He seemed to have seen his daughter's tragic fate in the future. However, he could not go against it. If he did not agree with the main bloodline might wipe out their bloodline. This kind of thing was too common. It was just an abandoned side bloodline. It was nothing to the main bloodline. As parents, how could they not want their children to be well? However, sometimes, the reality was extremely cruel. Shui Yuexin's mother shed tears when she saw her daughter. These days, she had been on tenterhooks after knowing the main bloodline's decision. She was worried about her daughter. Uncle, aunts, uncles, aunts. Shui Yuexin greeted everyone in turn. Her uncle, aunts, uncles and aunts also nodded their heads. She wanted to say something like, It's good that you're back. However, when she thought that she might jump into a fire pit when she came back, she could not bring herself to say it. This is… Shui Yuexin's uncle looked at Lin Feng in surprise. In the past, Shui Yuexin was always alone when she came home. Now, she actually brought a young man with her. As for this young man, he was handsome, confident, and had an extraordinary bearing. People could not help but like him. Lin Feng introduced himself. My name is Ji, I'm Yuexin's lover. Upon hearing that, Shui Yuexin's parents, aunts, uncles and aunts were shocked. They did not know that Shui Yuexin had found a partner outside. Shui Yuexin blushed and said, I brought him along. If the main bloodline's people come, I'll negotiate with them. No one knows a daughter better than her parents. When Shui Yuexin's parents saw the way she looked at Lin Feng, they knew that their daughter really liked Lin Feng. Shui Yuexin's father said, Leave it to me. Even if I have to sacrifice my life, I will not let the people from the main bloodline push you into the fire pit. His daughter had found happiness. This was the happiest thing for his father. The others nodded in agreement. If the main branch really didn't give up and wanted to forcibly separate Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin, then, in that case, they definitely wouldn't sit still and wait for death. Hearing her father's words, Shui Yuexin burst into tears. Suddenly, a clamor of voices rang out from outside. Next, a group of tens of cultivators rushed in. The leader was a cultivator who looked to be in his 30s. His name was Shui Moran. He was a cultivator of the main branch, and was of the same generation as Shui Yuexin's father and uncle. Eldest niece, you're finally back. Eldest niece Yuexin, Follow us to the main bloodline. The people from the Marriage Alliance family have been here for 3 days. It's time for you to meet your future in-laws, Shui Moran said. Shui Yueshin's father said. Yueshin already has a lover. So, please go back and tell the higher-ups of the main bloodline that the marriage alliance between Yueshin and the other party will not happen. So, if the main bloodline wants to have a marriage alliance with the other party, please find someone else. Shui Moran sneered and said. She's been single all this time. She just said that she wants to have a marriage alliance and she found a lover? Do you think the people from the main bloodline are so easily deceived? Not to mention that she doesn't have a lover. Even if she does, so what? The other party has seen Shui Yueshin's portrait and likes Shui Yueshin very much. So, even if we have to break them up, we won't hesitate. Don't go overboard. Shui Yueshin's father was livid. The people from the main bloodline were too unreasonable. They didn't treat them as humans at all. Shui Moran said. Overboard? That's ridiculous. Have you forgotten your identity? As a cultivator from the branch bloodline, it's only right for you to give up everything for the main bloodline. Moreover, Shui Yueshin's marriage alliance is also beneficial to you. She can become the wife of an aristocratic family in the future, and you will be given many cultivation resources. I heard that you sent Shui Zaheo and the others to the dragon subduing sect to cultivate? I don't think you can provide them with cultivation resources, right? Without cultivation resources, it's hard to raise one's cultivation level. As long as Shui Yueshin marries over, you can use the cultivation resources to nurture Shui Zaheo and the others. At this time, Shui Yueshin said coldly, you don't have to worry about the cultivation of Shui Zaheo and the others. Now they have joined the Western Heaven Immortal Sect and are disciples of the Western Heaven Immortal Sect's deputy sect leader, Zhou Chuyu. Hearing Shui Yueshin's words, everyone was stunned. Ha ha ha, how laughable, how laughable. Even if you make up some nonsense. He should have said something more reliable. Instead of saying something completely out of place. Shui Moran looked at Shui Yueshin sarcastically. In fact, Shui Moran wasn't the only one who didn't believe it. Even Shui Yueshin's parents, uncles, aunts, brothers and sisters-in-law didn't believe it. Western Heaven Immortal Sect. What kind of power was that? Even the main bloodline of the White Fox clan wasn't considered a powerful force in front of the Western Heaven Immortal Sect. Joining the Western Heaven Immortal Sect sounded unbelievable, let alone becoming the disciple of the Western Heaven Immortal Sect's deputy sect leader, Zhou Chuyu. Shui Yueshin's father, and the others didn't know why Shui Yueshin would say such ridiculous things, but they didn't refute it. Shui Yueshin said, some things don't need to be explained because there's no need to. Shui Moran sneered and said, I don't want to listen to your nonsense anymore. Now follow us. Don't force us to fight. After Shui Moran said that, the people around him slowly closed in. Seeing that Shui Moran seemed to want to fight, Shui Yueshin's family members' faces turned ugly. However, they had already made up their minds. Even if they had to fight to the death, they wouldn't give in. At this time, Lin Feng, who had been silent all this while, said, Yueshin won't be a tool for the family's benefit. Now you can leave. You're not welcome here. Chapter 49-24. Shui Yueshin's family saw Lin Feng arguing with Shui Moran and the others. At first, they were worried that Lin Feng would be at a disadvantage. But in the next moment, they saw an unbelievable scene. Lin Feng walked towards Shui Moran as soon as Shui Moran finished his words. Lin Feng arrived in front of Shui Moran and grabbed him. Kid, are you courting death? Shui Moran sneered and jumped out, slapping at Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng dispersed his palm in an instant. Then, Lin Feng grabbed Shui Moran's head with one hand and used his other hand to throw Shui Moran's body into the air. Lin Feng used Shui Moran as if he were a wolf's tooth club. Lin Feng swung him around like a tiger. Bang! 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 Along with the sound of the violent collision, there was a loud bang. The cultivators that Shui Moran brought along were all swept away. One by one, they fell outside the courtyard. Get out of here too! Then, Lin Feng threw Shui Moran out as well. There was a loud thud. Shui Moran fell to the ground. He came into close contact with the ground and all of his teeth were knocked out. Ah! Shui Moran roared in anger. To him, what happened just now was a great humiliation. He was thrown out of the courtyard. This was too shameful. Shui Moran was going crazy. His eyes were filled with coldness. He wanted to rush into the courtyard and take revenge on Lin Feng. However, thinking of how powerful Lin Feng was, how would he dare to find trouble with Lin Feng? He hurriedly led a group of people away with their tails between their legs. Shui Yuexin's family members were dumbfounded by what had just happened. Shui Moran was a human celestial cultivator. He was extremely strong, but Lin Feng had managed to defeat him. Everybody had seen what had happened a moment before. Lin Feng was too cruel and violent. However, Shui Yuexin's family members felt relieved. This violent son-in-law. This gave them a feeling of exaltation and satisfaction. However, after that, Shui Yuexin's family members started to worry. After all, the main branch was powerful and had a heavenly immortal expert. They were naturally worried that Lin Feng would be at a disadvantage. Shui Yuexin's father said, "Exioner, take young friend Ji and leave Blackstone City as soon as possible. If you are late, you might not be able to leave. We will leave Blackstone City as soon as possible. You don't have to worry about our safety." Shui Yuexin naturally knew what her father was worried about. Shui Yuexin said, "Father, you don't have to worry. Young master is very powerful. Moreover, it's all thanks to you that Si Hao and the others were able to become disciples of Zhou Qiyu, the deputy sect leader of the Western Heaven Celestial Sect." What? The group was stunned. Shui Yuexin had indeed mentioned this before. However, they did not dare to believe it. What kind of person was the Western Heaven Immortal Sect's vice-sect leader? He was high and mighty like a god. How could people of their status come into contact with him? As for Shui Zihao and the rest being the disciples of the Western Heaven Immortal Sect's vice-sect leader, they did not dare to think about it. Even in their dreams, they did not dare to think about it. However, Shui Yuexin mentioned this again. Moreover, she said it clearly and logically. It did not seem fake. If it was true, didn't that mean their family's luck was about to change? They would no longer be bullied by others? Lin Feng said. Zihao Ziyu, Yuan and the rest of the 8 have already become Zhou Qiyu's disciples. The Western Heaven Immortal Sect is different from the Dragon Subduing Sect. That place has more resources for its disciples. Moreover, I have some connections with Zhou Qiyu. I'm sure Zhou Qiyu will teach them well. Therefore, you don't have to worry about them. Hearing Lin Feng's words, Shui Yuexin's family members could confirm the authenticity of this matter. These people were all extremely excited. They knew what it meant for Shui Zihao and the rest to become Zhou Qiyu's disciples. Now, they were being humiliated and bullied by the people from the main sect. This was because they were not strong enough. If Shui Zihao and the rest became strong in the future, would the people from the main sect still dare to do this? When the time came, the people from the main sect would have to be respectful in front of them. Young friend, thank you. You are our family's great benefactor. Shui Yuexin's family members were so emotional that they wanted to bow to Lin Feng. Even Shui Yuexin's father struggled to get down from his wheelchair to bow to Lin Feng. Lin Feng quickly said, "Elders, please don't be so courteous. With my relationship with Yuexin, this is what I should do. If all of you bow to me, it would be too much for this junior." Hearing Lin Feng's words, Shui Yuexin's elders gave up. Shui Yuexin's mother looked at Lin Feng more and more like a mother-in-law looking at her son-in-law. The more she looked at him, the more she liked him. "Young Master Ji, is that you?" At this moment, a voice came from outside. Lin Feng looked outside and saw many cultivators gathered outside to watch the commotion. Many of them were pointing and talking. The one who spoke was a middle-aged cultivator. The middle-aged cultivator was looking inside. Lin Feng did not know this person. However, this person knew Lin Feng. "Come in and talk." Lin Feng waved his hand and said. Hearing this, the middle-aged cultivator immediately ran over. He then bowed to Lin Feng. Who are you? Lin Feng glanced at the middle-aged man and asked. I am Yun Zhongtian from Blazing Island. Greetings to young Master Ji. The middle-aged man bowed to Lin Feng. Blazing Island? Yun Zhongtian? I've never heard of him, Lin Feng said, pursing his lips. Hearing Lin Feng's words, the middle-aged man did not feel awkward. He said, Young Master Ji is very busy every day. Naturally, you would not have heard of a nobody like me. I just saw young Master Ji here by chance, so I took the liberty to come and greet young Master Ji. Oh? Replied Lin Feng. Then he asked, You said you were from the Scorching Island? Why are you here? Yun Zhongtian lowered his voice and said, Young Master Ji, I have obtained an ancient map. It seems to be related to Black Rock Mountain, so I came to investigate. Now that I see young Master Ji here, I am willing to offer the ancient map to young Master Ji. Chapter 49-25. Lin Feng said. Let me have a look at that map. Hearing that, Yun Zhongtian quickly took out the map and presented it to Lin Feng with both hands. It was a sheepskin map. It looked a little yellowed. Obviously, that map had been around for quite some time. Lin Feng took the map and looked at its contents. He looked at it carefully and found that the map was indeed pointing to the Black Rock Mountain. Lin Feng could not help but ponder for a moment. What kind of secret did this map hide? Lin Feng knew that now was not the time to explore the secrets of the map. He kept the map and then patted Yun Zhongtian on the shoulder and said, I'll be taking this map. You're called Yun Zhongtian, right? I'll remember you. If you have any trouble that you cannot solve in the future, you can think of a way to look for me. If you can't find me, you can send someone to deliver a letter to the City of Sin. As long as it is something that I can help you solve, I will definitely not reject it. Hearing Lin Feng's words, Yun Zhongtian immediately became extremely excited. If that was the case, then he and Lin Feng could be considered to have become friends. To be able to become friends with a young and powerful cultivator like Lin Feng was far more meaningful than being friends with those middle-aged or elderly true immortals. Because anyone would know who had greater potential and who would achieve greater things in the future. Yun Zhongtian said. Then I shall not disturb the young master any further. Lin Feng waved his hand and Yun Zhongtian left. My lord, who was that fella? You are the number one person below the true immortal stage in the Little Western Heavens, and even a powerful cultivator like the Western Heaven Immortal Sect's Vice-Sect leader Zhou Chuyu would be suppressed by you. Why are you so respectful towards that kid? Yun Zhongtian had just left when one of his trusted aides asked in puzzlement. Yun Zhongtian said, What do you know? That young master earlier is a powerful cultivator of the true immortal stage. What? True immortal? How old is he? He's already a true immortal? How is that possible? Yun Zhongtian's group of subordinates exclaimed in disbelief. Nothing is impossible. No matter what happens in this world, it is possible. The most frightening thing was not that he had already stepped into the true immortal realm, but that he already had the combat strength of a true immortal even before stepping into the true immortal realm. If the latter was the case, then this young master was far more frightening than they had imagined. If he stepped into the true immortal realm in the future, how powerful would he be? Now that the end of the world has arrived, we have to make plans for the future. I just gave the ancient map to this young master, and he seemed very happy after seeing it. Moreover, he told me that if there was anything I couldn't solve in the future, I can look for him. Now that we have established a relationship with this young master, maybe when the end of the world comes, we will need to rely on this young master to continue living. Yun Zhongtian said. Sir, you're really wise. The group of subordinates praised. Following that, one of the subordinates said, Sir, that extremely beautiful lady seems to be this young master's confidant. Earlier, there were people here looking for trouble, but with this young master's methods, he would naturally not be afraid of such trouble. However, this would dirty his hands. Why don't we stand guard here? If those people dare to come looking for trouble again, we'll help this young master get rid of those blind fools. Old Neo! Everyone says that you're a blockhead. Today, your brain has finally been enlightened. This suggestion is not bad. We'll stand guard outside and wait for those blind fools to come. If those fools really dare to come, breaking their legs would be considered a light punishment. Yun Zhongtian said immediately. At this moment, Shui Yuexin's family had already welcomed Lin Feng into the living room. Everyone was talking and laughing. It was a joyous and harmonious atmosphere. However, they knew that Lin Feng and Shui Yuexin might be tired from the journey, so after chatting for a while, Shui Yuexin's cousin brought Lin Feng to rest. Shui Yuexin also returned to her room to rest. Shui Yuexin's mother followed. Obviously, Shui Yuexin's mother wanted to have a heart-to-heart talk with Shui Yuexin. Both mother and daughter sat on the bed and Shui Yuexin's mother said, "Exiner, that young Master Ji seems to have a good character. Since both of you are in love with each other, shouldn't you find a time to settle your matters? Although we're just a small family, we should still have some etiquette. When the time comes, you can discuss with young Master Ji and ask him to send a few people over. This way, we can settle your matters." Hearing her mother's words, Shui Yuexin couldn't help but sigh in her heart. After all, she and Lin Feng were only a couple in disguise and not a real couple. However, Shui Yuexin didn't want to tell her mother about these things as it would only make her mother worried. Shui Yuexin said, "Mother, I know what to do." Shui Yuexin's mother said, "Yes, you've grown up. There are many things in your heart that you know. However, there's one thing that you must remember. You must protect yourself well. Girls are always the ones at a disadvantage." Mother, what nonsense are you talking about?" Shui Yuexin naturally knew what her mother meant. However, there was nothing between her and Lin Feng. Hence, when she heard her mother talking about these things, she was naturally very shy. Shui Yuexin's mother said, "Exiner, don't dislike these words. Men are usually like this. They like the feeling of novelty. After a long time, the novelty will wear off and they won't take it to heart anymore. Hence, girls need to love themselves more. Otherwise, they might become men's plaything. You must have seen more of such things than I know. The reason why I said this is not because I don't trust young Master Ji, but because you're my daughter. Of course, I'm worried about you." "I know, Mother. I will love myself," Shui Yuexin said. Lin Feng naturally didn't know about the conversation between Shui Yuexin and her mother. After returning to the room, Lin Feng took out the ancient map. He carefully studied the ancient map. Lin Feng discovered that there were many words on the ancient map. After seeing those words, Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. Those words were extremely ancient. "Demon Lord, take a look at these words." "What do they mean?" Lin Feng said. The Demon Lord flew out from the demonic orb and took the ancient map. He then looked at the mysterious and ancient words on the ancient map. Chapter 49-26. Lin Feng asked, "Demon Lord, what's written on it?" The Demon Lord said, 2 rivers, 2 cauldrons, 3 mountains, 3 cauldrons. The content is fragmented, and some of the words can't be read clearly. At this point, the Demon Lord frowned and pondered. "I feel that the things written on this map aren't simple. Find some time to go to the Black Rock Mountain and take a look. Maybe you can find some shocking clues." Lin Feng nodded and said, "After I'm done with Shui Yuexin's matter, I'll go to the Black Rock Mountain to take a look. Maybe I can find some clues." The Demon Lord handed the map to Lin Feng and returned to the Devil Pearl. Lin Feng kept the map in the temporal space. Lin Feng didn't continue cultivating. He lay on the bed and fell asleep not long after. At this time, Shui Moran had already returned to the main branch of the White Fox clan. The White Fox race wasn't considered to be particularly strong, but they weren't weak either. Their strength was slightly weaker than a sect like the Dragon Subduing sect. However, they still had a heavenly immortal realm expert holding the fort. Therefore, they were still able to intimidate others. This time, The White Fox clan didn't want to marry a clan from the small Western Sky region. Instead, they wanted to marry a clan from the Primordial Devil region, which was close to the small Western Sky region. The Primordial Devil region was one of the 3 devil regions in the Undying World. There were many devil clans there. Of course, other than the devil clans, there were many other clans. They were complicated and intertwined with each other. The clan that the White Fox clan wanted to marry into was called the Heartbroken Valley. This clan was deeply rooted in the Primordial Devil region. It was an extremely powerful Devil Dao clan. Although the Heartbroken Valley had the word heartbroken in its name, it wasn't an emotionless clan. It was similar to the Yin-Yang Union sect in the Sky Martial continent. It was a dual cultivation sect. The reason why it was called the Heartbroken Valley was said to be because the place where it was first established was called the Heartbroken Mountain. Therefore, this clan was called the Heartbroken Valley. A sect like this was extremely filthy, and unbearably filthy. After entering such a clan, many people couldn't accept it. This was because such a clan had no morals or ethics. It was not accepted by the world. However, this love-broken valley was indeed very powerful. Therefore, in order to deepen their relationship with the love-broken valley, the White Fox clan decided to form a marriage alliance. The upper echelons of the White Fox clan also knew that if the women of their clan were to join the Passionless Valley, it would be like pushing them into a fire pit. Therefore, the upper echelons of the White Fox tribe decided to choose a marriage partner from the side branches. They would not push a woman of the direct bloodline into such a fiery pit. As Shui Yuexin's lineage had completely declined, there were no experts left to guard it. Naturally, it became the target of the main White Fox lineage. At this moment, the upper echelons of the White Fox clan were entertaining the cultivators of the emotion-broken valley. Shui Moran came to the hall with injuries all over his body. The White Fox clan leader's face darkened when she saw Shui Moran's reaction. He asked in a deep voice, "Moran, what happened to you? Why did you come back with such injuries?" Shui Moran quickly said, "Clan leader, Shui Yuexin found a helper from somewhere. She said that the helper is her lover and doesn't agree to the marriage. The helper is really powerful and injured us." "What? There's such a thing? How preposterous!" The White Fox clan leader's face darkened. At this moment, a young man sitting beside the White Fox clan leader said, "Didn't you say that Shui Yuexin is still single?" "Young Master Wu, Shui Yuexin is indeed single. That brat is obviously an impostor. He did it because he didn't agree to the marriage. However, this is a marriage arranged by the clan. How can a branch disciple like her oppose it?" The White Fox clan leader said immediately. Young Master Wu said, "I've taken a liking to Shui Yuexin. I don't care if that brat is Shui Yuexin's partner. Since I've taken a liking to her, Shui Yuexin will become my woman. I'm the best at disciplining disobedient women. When Shui Yuexin arrives at the emotion-broken valley, I'll find a way to turn her into an obedient slave even if she's a chaste woman." Young Master Wu's name was Wu Qitian. When he said this, the corners of his mouth curled up into an extremely evil expression. The White Fox clan leader said, "Young Master Wu, don't worry. This woman won't be able to escape from your grasp." Wu Qitian nodded and didn't say anything else. The tribe leader of the White Fox tribe looked at a cultivator and said, "Amo-sun, go and bring that disobedient girl here." The cultivator called Amo-sun was called Shui Amo-sun. He was the son of the White Fox clan leader. He was an earth immortal and was very powerful. After hearing his father's orders, he stood up. Shui Amo-sun stood up. Then, he walked outside. Shui Amo-sun gathered a number of experts from the White Fox clan. Among these experts, some were from the White Fox clan. Most of them were experts recruited by the White Fox clan. In total, there were more than 40 people. Under Shui Amo-sun's lead, they quickly headed towards Shui Yuexin's residence. Along the way, many people were surprised to see such a large group of people. These were the elites of the White Fox clan. Why would so many people be mobilized at once? Did something big happen? Someone asked doubtfully. Many people shook their heads. They didn't know what was going on. At this time, someone said, "Don't you know about this?" It's said that the White Fox clan wants to form a marriage alliance with the Emotion Broken Valley. They want Shui Yueshin to marry them. What? There's such a thing? That Emotion Broken Valley is a dual cultivation sect. After marrying Shui Yueshin, she'll definitely become a cultivation vessel for a group of people. This White Fox clan is going overboard. Aren't they afraid of being struck by lightning? Then, a cultivator couldn't help but feel indignant. Another cultivator said, "What lightning? The world of cultivators has always valued benefits. The White Fox clan is naturally the same. They don't want to sacrifice their direct descendants, so they want to sacrifice Shui Yueshin." However, it's said that Shui Yueshin already has a partner and returned to her clan together. But the White Fox clan doesn't care about this and still wants Shui Yueshin to form a marriage alliance. I heard that Shui Emosun brought so many people to deal with Shui Yueshin's partner. After dealing with that person, Shui Yueshin will probably be forcefully taken away. Let's go and take a look. Many cultivators whispered to each other. Then, the group of cultivators quickly chased after Shui Emosun's group. Chapter 49-27. Just as Shui Emosun was leading a group of people towards Shui Yueshin's residence, Shui Yueshin's cousin Shui Xiling noticed that the cultivator who had been talking to his brother-in-law had not left. What surprised him was that the cultivator had brought a dozen of his subordinates to stand guard outside the residence. Shui Xiling was very confused as he did not know what these people were doing. Shui Xiling asked, "Brother, what are you all doing outside?" Yun Zhongtian said, "I think young Master Ji prefers peace and quiet. We are standing guard here to prevent anyone from disturbing young Master Ji." Hearing Yun Zhongtian's words, Shui Xiling could not help but smile bitterly. He was now curious as to who this brother-in-law of his was. His brother-in-law did not seem to know these people before this. This Yun Zhongtian had led his subordinates to stand guard here. It was obvious that he wanted to flatter his brother-in-law. Shui Xiling invited Yun Zhongtian in but was rejected by Yun Zhongtian. Shui Xiling had no choice but to return to the residence. At this moment, his father, 3 uncles, mother, and aunt were all in the living room. These people were excitedly discussing Shui Zihao and the others joining the Western Heaven Immortal sect. Shui Xiling said, "The cultivator who came in to talk to brother-in-law didn't leave. He led a dozen cultivators to guard outside. I asked him why he was guarding outside. He said that brother-in-law likes peace and quiet and doesn't like to be disturbed. Therefore, he was guarding outside to prevent anyone from disturbing brother-in-law." This. Hearing Shui Xiling's words, the group of people felt that the person outside was obviously trying to flatter their future son-in-law. Shui Yueshin's third uncle said, "Even the Western Heaven Immortal sect's vice-sect leader has to give face to our son-in-law. It seems like our son-in-law's background must be very great. Could he be from some top-notch aristocratic family? However, I heard that the heirs of those aristocratic families are usually more arrogant. Our son-in-law does not have such arrogance and looks very approachable." "That's right. Yueshin is really lucky to have found such a good partner," Shui Yueshin's third aunt said. At this moment, Shui Yueshin's fourth uncle said, "I remember when that person introduced himself in front of our son-in-law, he said that his name was Yun Zhongtian and that he came from the Blazing Island." "That's right. Is there a problem?" Everyone nodded and then asked doubtfully. Shui Shuyue's fourth uncle then said, "I remember hearing about the Inferno Island from somewhere before, and I had even heard of Yun Zhongtian before." Shui Yueshin's second uncle said, "Now that third brother mentioned it, I feel like I have some impression of it too. Raging Flame Island. Raging Flame Island. Could it be the island in the inland lake between our little Western Sky region and the Western Sky region? That island seems to be called Inferno Island." At this moment, Shui Xiling recalled the origin of the Blazing Island. After Shui Xiling's reminder, the rest of the people also remembered. Shui Yueshin's uncle said, "That's right, it's the Blazing Island. I heard that the owner of the Blazing Island also has the surname of Yun. Moreover, this person seems to be the strongest person below the true immortal realm in our little western sky region. He had already entered the true immortal realm a long time ago. However, I don't know what his name is. There aren't many rumors about him in the outside world. Shui Yueshin's third uncle said. Oh right, I have a biography here that I got from Yueshin. Yueshin said that this biography recorded some information about the experts in the Little Western Sky region. At that time, I was purely curious and wanted to read it. At that time, Yueshin said that this biography should not be leaked because the identities of the experts in it are more sensitive. Although I only flipped through it quickly, I vaguely remember that there was an introduction about the owner of the Blazing Island. Quickly take out that biography and read it. Shui Yueshin's first uncle said. Shui Yueshin's third uncle nodded and did not dare to hesitate. He quickly took out the biography and began to read it. Found it. Found the introduction about the owner of the Blazing Island. The owner of the Blazing Island, Yun Zhongtian. He mainly cultivates the blazing saber technique. Once the saber technique is used, it can manifest a world of blazing flames. In this world of blazing flames, there will be countless saber radiances. These saber radiances can easily tear apart the heavens and earth and destroy the firmament. The power is unimaginable. Therefore, the owner of the Blazing Island is known as the strongest person below the true immortal realm. Moreover, it is said that when the owner of the Blazing Island, Yun Zhongtian, fully explodes his combat power, even if he fights with some experts of the true immortal realm, he will be invincible. Shui Yueshin's third uncle found the information about the owner of the Blazing Island and began to read it. When the group of people in the hall heard this information, they all gasped. Because, when the cultivator outside introduced himself, he said that his name was Yun Zhongtian. He came from the Blazing Island. Obviously, the person outside was known as the strongest person below the true immortal realm, the owner of the Blazing Island who could compete with some true immortals. After all, this was a major figure. Even the top forces would not dare to offend such a character. This was because such an expert was usually very powerful. It would not be easy to kill them. Moreover, such an expert could break through to the true immortal realm at any time. If they broke through to the true immortal realm, that would be terrifying. They would kill in all directions and disturb the other party forever. However, the owner of the Blazing Island was a big shot. Not to mention them, even the main branch of the White Fox tribe had to look up to him. He actually did it in front of their son-in-law. He looked very cautious. What kind of identity did Yueshin find for her son-in-law? Shui Yueshin's sister-in-law could not help but exclaim. When she thought of the possible identity of the son-in-law, her heart was like a raging storm. If the identity of the son-in-law was exposed, it was enough to scare people to death. When the group of people had not recovered from the deep shock, they heard a noise coming from outside. It seems that the people from the main branch are here, Shui Xiling said. Let's go out and have a look, Shui Yueshin's eldest uncle said. Shui Xiling pushed Shui Yueshin's father's wheelchair and walked out with everyone. When they came out, they found that it was indeed the people from the main branch. The people from the main branch were led by Shui Mashuan, and there were many experts. They looked aggressive, but now the people from the main branch were stopped by the owner of the Blazing Island, Yun Zhongtian, and his group of subordinates. Haha, it's just some nobodies. I'm sorry to have alarmed everyone. Chapter 49-28. Shui Yu Xian's family members were naturally laughing bitterly, but when they thought of the identity of the island lord of the Inferno Island, Yun Zhongtian, they were relieved. With such a powerful master like Yun Zhongtian, it was not strange for him to treat Shui Mo Sun and the others like cats and dogs. However, the surrounding cultivators who were watching the show were in an uproar because they did not know that the cultivator who spoke was the famous island master of Blazing Flame Island. After all, there was not much news about the island master of Blazing Flame Island in the outside world, so there were not many cultivators who knew who the island master was. You dare to humiliate me? Who exactly are you? Shui Emosun looked at Yun Zhongtian furiously. Previously, when all of them had been stopped by Yun Zhongtian and his men, it had already caused Shui Emosun to be extremely infuriated. Now that Yun Zhongtian was using the term Tom, Dick, or Harry to describe him, how could Shui Emosun possibly tolerate that? After all, Shui Emosun was the son of the White Fox clan leader and an Earth Immortal expert. He was a reputable figure in the Black Mountain City. To be humiliated in front of so many people, if he did not take revenge, he would definitely become a laughingstock in the future. However, Shui Emosun had always been a cautious person. He planned to figure out the identity of the person in front of him first before deciding whether to take action. There was a saying that a wise man submits to circumstances. If the other party was someone he could afford to offend, Shui Emosun would naturally not mind taking action. If it was someone he could not afford to offend, he would have to be cautious. Facing Shui Emosun's question, Yun Zhongtian said domineeringly, "Who do you think you are? Are you worthy to ask me who I am?" At the very beginning, Shui Yu Xian's family had thought that Yun Zhongtian was just an ordinary cultivator, and that was why they had been so cautious in front of Lin Feng, not even daring to raise their voices when they spoke. Previously, Yun Zhongtian had always been a cautious person, but it was only at this very moment that Shui Yu Xian's family realized that the Yun Zhongtian now was the real Yun Zhongtian. An expert who could compete with some true immortals, an overlord-level existence, was naturally a domineering person. The extreme contrast in their image showed that their young master was extraordinary. "This is the Black Mountain City, the territory of my White Fox clan. Don't think that just because you have some strength, you can strut around here. Today, I will teach you a good lesson and let you know how to behave." Shui Emosun looked coldly at Yun Zhongtian and waved his hand. Many of the powerhouses behind Shui Emosun quickly surrounded Yun Zhongtian and the others. "They are about to fight. I wonder what will the result be? That person is so arrogant. He should be quite capable, right? A dragon cannot suppress a snake in its territory. Furthermore, Shui Emosun's side has more people. I favor Shui Emosun's side. The actions of the White Fox clan are shameless. Therefore, I hope that Shui Emosun and the others will be taught a lesson." Many of the cultivators who were watching the show began to discuss among themselves. These cultivators were either neutral or those who supported Yun Zhongtian. The White Fox clan, in order to form a marriage alliance with the demonic sect, had actually pushed their own clansmen into the fire pit. It was just too despicable, and they had incurred the wrath of the heavens. Even those who felt that Shui Emosun and the others would have the upper hand did not actually support them. Do it. Take care of these blind fools as fast as you can so as not to disturb young Master Ji's rest. Seeing Shui Emosun's group of subordinates charging over, Yun Zhongtian immediately gave the order. Yun Zhongtian looked calm and collected, not intending to make a move at all. "Don't worry, my lord. We are experts in such matters." The group of people immediately grinned. Yun Zhongtian's subordinates were not ordinary people. It must be known that the Inferno Island ruled over the lake between the Little Western Sky and West Sky regions. Any cultivator who passed through the lake to travel between the Little Western Sky and West Sky regions would have to pay a toll to the Inferno Island. If the Inferno Island did not possess great strength, would they dare to collect such a toll? Of course they would not dare to do so. Hence, the might of the Inferno Island was extremely powerful, and the cultivators of the Inferno Island possessed terrifying powers as well. Many of them even possessed some rather powerful trump cards up their sleeves. The men that Yun Zhongtian had brought along with him were even more so. They were the elite exponents of the Inferno Island, and their methods were formidable. These experts quickly charged into the crowd. Following that, what happened next left everyone dumbfounded. Although the experts of the Inferno Island were few in number, their battle prowess was heaven-defying. Like the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves, they knocked down Shui Emosun's group of subordinates. Shui Emosun's group of subordinates fell to the ground one by one, vomiting blood before they fainted. Crushed. Shui Emosun's group of subordinates were actually defeated by the opponent in a crushing manner, even though they had the advantage in numbers. Shock, disbelief. Everyone's face was filled with a look of surprise. You. Shui Emosun was so frightened that his entire body trembled. This group of people was too ferocious. Shui Emosun knew that they had kicked an iron plate today, and these people were obviously here to protect Shui Yu Xian's line. Who were they? Shui Yu Xian's line. When had they ever befriended such experts? Could it be that they were experts brought by Shui Yu Xian's partner? But something didn't seem right. Before they came, Shui Emosun had already asked Shui Emo Ran and knew that Shui Yu Xian had only brought one person home and no one else. Then where did these people pop out from? Eat this old bull's fist! A 3-meter-tall brawny man shouted as he punched towards Shui Emosun. Shui Emosun was shocked. He quickly blocked with his fist. Pun! The next moment, Shui Emosun and that brawny man punched each other fiercely. Then everyone saw that Shui Emosun was like a kite with a broken string as he flew out. Kacha. Shui Emosun and that brawny man's arms were broken. The bones pierced through the skin and were exposed. That brawny man's strength was too terrifying. Who knew how many bones in Shui Emosun's body were broken? Plop! Shui Emosun fell heavily on the ground and spat out 3 mouthfuls of blood before fainting. Seeing this scene, many people couldn't help but reveal a shocked expression. Shui Emosun was an Earth Immortal expert. But he couldn't even take a single blow from that brawny man. Wasn't that brawny man too strong? At that moment, Yun Zhongtian kicked the burly man with his foot, causing him to stumble backward. Yun Zhongtian scolded. If you want to fight, then fight. What are you shouting for? If you disturb young master's rest, can you bear the consequences? That brawny man quickly smiled apologetically. Lord, this old bull is wrong. Next time, this old bull will definitely not do this. Heavens, this group of ferocious people, could they be someone's guards? Many people wailed in their hearts. I heard that Shui Yu Xian brought her partner. Could these people be that young master's guards? That young master's guards are too strong, right? Who is that young master? He actually has so many powerful guards? Next, someone exclaimed. Chapter 49-29. I recognize who that man is. It's him. It's actually him. Suddenly, a cultivator spoke out, recognizing Yun Zhongtian's identity, and his face was filled with disbelief. Who is he? Many people turned to look at the cultivator who had spoken. Everyone was extremely curious about Yun Zhongtian's identity, and wanted to know who he was. But at the moment, Yun Zhongtian's identity was like a mystery. But thinking that they would soon be able to uncover Yun Zhongtian's identity, everyone was filled with excitement and anticipation. That man is the #1 person below the realm of true immortals, the Island Lord of the Inferno Island, Yun Zhongtian. The cultivator who had recognized Yun Zhongtian revealed his identity. Following that, a series of gasps sounded from all around. Everyone could not believe what they were hearing. That man was actually Yun Zhongtian? What kind of a hero was Yun Zhongtian? Many true immortals were wary of Yun Zhongtian. But today, Yun Zhongtian was actually guarding the door for someone else. And from Yun Zhongtian's tone, it was obvious that he was extremely respectful towards that young master. If that man was really Yun Zhongtian, then who was that young master? Who would have the right to have Yun Zhongtian guard the door for them? Big bro, could you have seen wrongly? How could that man be the Island Lord of the Inferno Island? Shouldn't the Island Lord of the Inferno Island be on the Inferno Island right now? And it is said that the Island Lord of the Inferno Island is making preparations to break through to the true immortal realm. How would he have the time to come all the way here? A cultivator voiced out his doubts, thinking that the cultivator had seen through the person who had come. The main thing was that he could not believe that such a big shot like Yun Zhongtian would actually be guarding the door for someone else. Moreover, Yun Zhongtian was an overlord in his own right, and he had never submitted to anyone before. Even if a powerful cultivator like Yun Zhongtian had submitted to someone else, he could not possibly be guarding the door for someone else. Therefore, Xiang Luoshu raised his doubts, not quite believing that the leading cultivator was the famous island master of Blazing Flame Island. "That's right! You must have seen wrongly!" Another cultivator spoke up, still unwilling to believe the words of that cultivator. "I'm not mistaken. I've seen the island master of Scorching Island before, so I remember what he looks like. That man is the island master of Scorching Island. I'm sure he's the island master of Scorching Island," the cultivator continued. Moreover, he said this in an extremely certain tone. At that moment, another cultivator spoke up. "He is indeed the island lord of the Inferno Island, Yun Zhongtian. About 300 years ago, when I was on my way to the Western Sky region to settle a matter, I passed by the vast lake where the Inferno Island is located, and I saw the island lord of the Inferno Island. It's this man." After hearing the second cultivator's affirmation, the rest of the people had no choice but to believe that the middle-aged cultivator was the island master of the Scorching Flame Island. Now that the identity of the island master of the Blazing Flame Island had been confirmed, Zhang Xian's expression changed drastically. Everyone was even more curious about the young master mentioned by the island master of Blazing Island. Everyone could not help but have a question in their hearts. Could it be? Could it be that the island lord of the Inferno Island, Yun Zhongtian, had already chosen to submit to that young master? Perhaps there was such a possibility. Those cultivators who had not fainted crawled up and hurriedly carried their unconscious companions away. Yun Zhongtian and the others did not stop those cultivators from leaving. Their duty was only to prevent those cultivators from disturbing Lin Feng's rest. As for other matters, they could not be bothered with them. It did not take long for these people to return to the main branch of the White Fox clan. Then they reported this matter to their superiors. After seeing Shui Moshuin, who was beaten half to death, the White Fox clan leader was so angry that her entire body trembled. However, after knowing that the person who attacked was the island master of Scorching Flame Island, Yun Zhongtian, although the White Fox clan leader's heart was filled with hatred, she did not dare to offend Yun Zhongtian. After all, the strongest person in the White Fox clan was only at the heavenly immortal realm. The difference between them and Yun Zhongtian was too great. If Yun Zhongtian was willing, Yun Zhongtian alone was enough to wipe out the White Fox clan. Wu Qitian said, "I know this island master of Blazing Flame Island, Yun Zhongtian, but I've never heard of him joining any faction." At this moment, an old man beside Wu Qitian said, "Perhaps he was asked by someone to help that lad, and at the same time, help that lad build up his reputation. This kind of thing is quite common in the world of cultivators." "Elder Tian is right," Wu Qitian replied, showing great respect to this old man. The tribe leader of the White Fox tribe and the others did not know who this old man was. However, they knew that this old man was definitely a terrifying existence. This was because even Wu Qitian was very respectful towards this old man. This was enough to explain a lot of things. "Young Master Wu, what should we do next?" the White Fox clan leader asked. Right now, they were unable to resolve this matter, and the White Fox clan leader knew this very well. If they wanted to resolve this matter, there was only one way, and that was for the people of the Passionless Valley to step in. Wu Qitian said, "You don't have to bother about this matter. I'll go meet that Yun Zhongtian guy. If he knows what's good for him, I will not hold him accountable for what happened today. If he does not know what's good for him, I'll have to ask Elder Tian to step in when the time comes. Let Yun Zhongtian know that not everything under the heavens is something he can meddle in. If he meddles in other people's business, he will have to pay the price." The old man raised his eyes and said, "Since the young master has said so, let's go have a look. It's just a mere Yun Zhongtian. He has no right to meddle in the affairs of our Passionless Valley. Just a mere Yun Zhongtian?" The White Fox clan leader and the others were shocked. Yun Zhongtian was an existence that could match up to some of the true immortal level powerhouses. But in the eyes of this Elder Tian, it was just a mere Yun Zhongtian. It would seem that this Elder Tian held Yun Zhongtian in disdain. This greatly shocked everyone, and the White Fox clan leader and the others could not help but mutter in their hearts. Could it be that this Elder Tian was a true immortal-level powerhouse? Let's go! Wu Qitian got up and walked outside, and the Elder Tian and the group of people from the Passionless Valley followed behind him. The White Fox clan leader led many of the White Fox clan's main bloodline's elite fighters and followed behind them as they made their way towards the Shui family manor. Chapter 49:30. As the Black Mountain City was not particularly large, once something happened, the speed at which it spread was extremely fast. The news of what happened outside the Shui family's residence had already spread throughout the entire Black Mountain City. Everyone was talking about this matter, and naturally, they were extremely shocked and moved. Everyone knew that there would be more waves in the future. Therefore, many people headed towards the Shui family's residence to watch the show. Not long after, there was news that the people of the White Fox tribe and the people of the Passionless Valley had joined forces and were heading towards the Shui clan's residence. It seemed that the Love Valley and the White Fox clan would not let this matter rest. Therefore, more and more people were heading towards the Shui family manor. Before the people of the Love Valley and the White Fox clan had reached the Shui family manor, there was already a sea of people and it was overcrowded. In this world, there was no lack of people who liked to watch a show. How could he miss out on such a lively event? They're here! The people of the Love Valley and the White Fox clan are here! At this time, someone shouted from the outside. Following that, the crowd quickly parted to the sides and everyone opened up a path. Dozens of cultivators from the Love Valley and the White Fox clan walked over. The White Fox clan is obviously unable to resolve today's matter. It seems that the Love Valley is going to step in. The Love Severance Valley holds great power, and even a true Immortal Realm cultivator would not dare to offend the Love Severance Valley lightly. Since the Love Severance Valley has stepped forward, I feel that Yun Zhongtian and the people behind him would submit to them. If they do not submit, then they would have offended the Love Severance Valley. Offending such a great power would not end well for them. Many people started discussing and analyzing the situation before them. Halt! Seeing the large group of people from the Love Valley and the White Fox clan arrive, Yun Zhongtian could not help but call out in a deep voice. His face was slightly gloomy. The other party was really like a dogskin plaster, there was no end to it. Island Lord Yun, it has been many years since we last met. Have you been well? Wu Qitian looked at Yun Zhongtian and said with a smile. They had met before, so they knew each other. In fact, Wu Qitian's cultivation was much weaker than Yun Zhongtian because Wu Qitian was only at the heavenly immortal realm. But Wu Qitian was from the Passionless Valley and he thought himself to be a cut above the rest, not thinking much of Yun Zhongtian. Moreover, he still had the Heavenly Elder, who was the great high-revered elder of the Passionless Valley, which made him even more dismissive of Yun Zhongtian. When he spoke, there was a hint of arrogance in his tone. So it's you! There is a young master that you cannot afford to offend resting inside. If you know what's good for you, you'd better take your men and leave. Yun Zhongtian said calmly. Hearing Yun Zhongtian's words, Wu Qitian's face immediately darkened. He felt that Wu Qitian's words were filled with contempt, and contempt towards him. In this world, was there anyone he could not afford to offend? Even if he was a prince of the heavenly court, he could afford to offend him. Wu Qitian said. Yun Zhongtian, you should know that this Shui Yuexin is my fiancée whom I have yet to marry. So you had better not stick your nose into other people's business. And that kid behind you as well. Don't stick your nose into other people's business, or don't blame me for being impolite to you. Yun Zhongtian immediately retorted. You mother's fart. Who in the entire Black Mountain City doesn't know of the despicable things that your passion-shattered valley and the White Fox tribe's main bloodline have done? Who doesn't know about it? And you still have the nerve to call the Shui Yuexin fairy your fiancé? Don't you even care about your face anymore? No matter what, you're still from a great sect. If you still care about your face, you should leave right now. Seeing Yun Zhongtian's unyielding attitude and unfriendly tone, Wu Qitian was naturally rather enraged. He said coldly, Yun Zhongtian, you think too highly of yourself. Since you're asking for death, this young master here doesn't mind fulfilling your wish. Wu Qitian then turned to the old man beside him and said, Elder Tian, I'll have to trouble you to make your move next. Hee, a small matter. Elder Tian suddenly let out a strange laugh as he walked towards Yun Zhongtian. A true immortal. Yun Zhongtian furrowed his brows slightly. That's right. Elder Tian nodded. I was just thinking of finding some true immortals to spar with to sharpen my cultivation before I break through to the true immortal realm. Yun Zhongtian said. What shameless boasting. Elder Tian's expression was indifferent as he leaped out and struck out a palm strike towards Yun Zhongtian. Yun Zhongtian, on the other hand, held the great saber in his hand and slashed out with it. Yun Zhongtian's strongest move was his saber techniques, and all of his mystiques were powered by his saber techniques. As Yun Zhongtian's saber slashed out, millions upon millions of saber lights gathered together and shot towards Elder Tian. But Elder Tian's palm strike was just too powerful as it dispersed Yun Zhongtian's attack. The powerful palm strike came crashing down, causing Yun Zhongtian to stagger backwards. So strong! Many people exclaimed in surprise. Elder Tian was indeed a powerful true immortal realm cultivator. Even a powerful cultivator like Yun Zhongtian had suffered a little loss. Of course, the main reason for that was because Yun Zhongtian had yet to break through to the true immortal realm. He was still just a half-true immortal realm cultivator after all. With the difference in cultivation level, it was only normal for him to suffer a little loss. I recognize who that old man is. That old man is the old monster Tian Shui. At that moment, a cultivator cried out in surprise. What? He's the old monster Tian Shui? The super great demon old monster Tian Shui from 1,000,000 years ago? Many people cried out in surprise. The old monster Tian Shui was definitely a terrifying existence. 1,000,000 years ago, in order to cultivate his demonic arts, he had massacred all the living beings in 36 countries. Tens of billions of people had died tragically. That incident had caused a huge uproar, and it was said that some forces had even planned to mobilize their own forces to deal with the old monster Tian Shui. But the old monster Tian Shui had suddenly disappeared, and since then, he had never appeared again. It was only now that everyone knew that the old monster Tian Shui had not gone missing. Instead, he had sought refuge with the Passion Valley. To think that there are still people who remember this old man. This old man had thought that the world had forgotten about this old man. The old monster Tian Shui said calmly. This person was very powerful. So, even when he was fighting against a powerful cultivator like Yun Zhongtian, he was still calm and composed as if he had everything under control. So you are the old monster Tian Shui. I'll let you have a taste of my ultimate skill. Endless Saber Sea. At that moment, Yun Zhongtian suddenly roared and slashed his saber at the old monster Tian Shui. In an instant, everyone saw a sea of saber condensing. That sea of saber contained a wave that could destroy the heavens and earth. This ultimate skill was a technique recorded in the Roaring Flame Saber technique. Yun Zhongtian then began to unleash his final trump card. After the sea of saber was formed, it immediately enveloped the old monster Tian Shui. The old monster Tian Shui was enveloped by the Sea of Saber. Within the Sea of Saber, endless saber gleams condensed and blasted towards the old monster Tian Shui. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.